Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and occasionally other vintage toy lines as well. My name is Sixo, but more on that later because I'm joined by my fabulous 2024 co-hosts. Gentlemen, we're here tonight in January, for real this time. When we did the last episode, it was, well, sort of pretend January. But
January, wasn't it?
This is real January now, which is really exciting. As ever, I've got the one and only wonderful Liam from Toybox Soapbox. How you doing?
What hogmany?
Oh, God.
That's Scottish for Happy New Year, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. Jason appreciated that, I can see.
I did, yeah. I understood that. That was good.
Scottish in him.
Do we all have to speak Scottish?
Yeah, just now.
Aye.
For the entire episode. That would
Okay. Yeah.
Aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's Newcastle, isn't it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very different.
Oh, dear. You've just offended
The North.
various people, haven't you?
North.
Yeah, exactly. Liam, you noticed that I didn't steal your intro this time?
Yeah, you developed your own personality again. Welcome back.
Yeah, I've just brought it back for the evening, that's all. Just, turned on the Sixo character again. That's all it is. Ready Player Sixo.
More on him later.
Yeah, exactly. We also have, of course, J-Swags of Jason.
Oh, J-Swags of Jason. I am
Is
here
it
again.
Jason of J-Swags or J-Swags of Jason? I don't know.
Do you know, I'm slowly just becoming J-Swags now. It's like, how people are tagging me on the socials. That's it now. Gonna have to get a t-shirt, merch.
I noticed we had an Instagram comment, a real Instagram DM, this one, from a real person.
They're all real. What are you talking about?
Sure. From one of Liam's fantasy people. We had a real DM. We do get them.
I had a real letter as well. That's
true.
We'll come to that. Jesus Christ. We'll come to that. But I noticed that someone wrote in and said, who's this guy? J-Swags. I really like him. I thought that was nice.
Double question marks at the end of J-A-Y.
Yeah, J-A-Y. Yeah. It made me wonder, actually, because I've been assuming that it's J, like the letter J, and then Swags. I suddenly wondered if it was like Jace, like Jason, Jace Wags, like wives and girlfriends.
Well, it's not wives and girlfriends.
It could be.
His tail.
Yeah, like wagging his tail. Jace Wags.
Jace Wags.
Please don't wag your tail on there.
It did come from. Yeah, let's not go there. It did come from a friend of mine who just combining Jace Wagner, Jace Wags together, and that was it. That's where we got it from.
I think we cracked that code.
Yeah, did you? It's quite subtle,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
See, I wonder if S was a middle name or something.
No, my middle name's Robert, so I'm Robert Wagner as well. As in, for those old enough, that was my uncle's. Yeah. That was my dad's eldest brother's name. So,
wow,
yeah, that's the full
J Rags.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit. Yeah. Getting a bit JRX now, aren't I?
You are.
Different. Yeah.
There is JRX.
Well, that's a toy that might come up in conversation tonight. You never know.
No wonder Maz is so fond of you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I miss him.
Well, we are here to talk tonight about not just Maz and everything else. Liam, we'll get to your letter in a little bit. Don't worry. You can talk about that.
Physical letter.
Yeah, very, very cool, mate. Very cool. Thanks, Billy. But
spoiler.
But we are going to talk about clear plastic, and we kind of had this one in mind. I think we threatened to do this topic a few times, because we talked about yellowing. I remember the yellowing episode was quite cathartic in many regards. Jace, we didn't have your... There you go, Jace. We didn't have your expertise on for that one, but it was a fun one. And I know we talked about doing clear plastic and GPS as topics at some point, but I don't know if I'm ready for the GPS conversation yet. I've got to be honest.
No, that's too much.
Yeah, we've got to build up for that one.
Exactly. Yeah, too traumatic.
That requires a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Time and mental patience as well, I think.
Bit therapy maybe as well,
exactly.
To get us through it after.
Get through the various GPS PTSD incidents that have happened over the years. Yeah, GPSD, I don't know, whatever. But there is plenty to say about clear plastic as well. That's another kind of big pitfall of collecting, as many would say, isn't it? So that's basically what we're going to talk about tonight. Just why clear plastic, what's good about it, what's not so good about it, because people do tend to kind of leap to the bad. It's an old joke of mine that you cannot post a picture of a clear toy online without someone going, I presume that's dust now and things like this. So, that crowd, I'm sure, will find a lot to like about this particular episode. But before we get to all of that, we should mention that we have a sponsor for the evening, and that is tfsource.com. So you can check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs, and we'll do a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod, as ever. And we also have a bit of a Patreon, don't we? Now, I'm saying that correctly this time, aren't I?
You've nailed it now. This is it. This is third time.
Is it?
Talking like a real boy now.
Like a real boy.
It's grown up. 2024 Sixo.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like I'm on a bit of a roll, but in my head there, I was kind of like, have I got it right? Or do I just think I've got it right? But yeah, Patreon. Patreon.com/Triple Takeover, where we have 5 glorious tiers, and you can get all kinds on there. You can just sign up and support us for £1 a month. You can be a man in pig and get early access to episodes. It always still makes you laugh, Liam, after
I can't help it.
not shy of almost 3 years, and you're still laughing at that, which I think is adorable.
No man in pig is shy, if that's what they're like taking them.
Very, very true indeed. Yeah. Well, we have some of them that support us, which is lovely. And they get early access to episodes like this. They're going to be listening to this a week early. Or you can sign up as an inner beast and get on our Discord. And we're going to talk a little bit more about our Discord later, because there's plenty happening on our Discord. And we actually have some questions from our Discord that we're going to do at the very end of this episode. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to do a bit of a new segment there, talking about questions from the Discord and things like that. So that should be kind of fun. So yeah, you can sign up as an inner beast, or you can sign up as a Sixo's butler and get access to our fortnightly minisodes. We've just done one on Transformers Reactivate, which was popping, wasn't it? Absolutely popping.
It's popping, was it?
It's popping. It's proper popping.
Beatnik Sixo is bad.
Yeah, very much so. That's my personality. There you go. That's what I've opted for. Summoned my inner beatnik. But yeah, proper popping minisode that was really exciting. We had a bit of tunes going on there as well, so that was exciting. And then you can sign up as a Gold Box Classic as well, and this is where the real meat and potatoes of the pod is, because not only can you get access to mini-series about IDW's More Than Meets the Eye, not only can you get access to minisodes about Tapman, the one and only Tapman, where Liam rifles through his tap box and
I haven't
finds...
done one of them in ages, have we?
We've just done the A-Team not so long ago, but yeah.
It does feel like a long time. It's just... it's because we're in a new year now, Liam. That's
exactly.
What it is.
So much older
Everything
now.
is so last year. So 2023, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you find down the back of your sofa next time.
Well, I'm more excited about older Swaggy J's.
Well, I was going to say, this is it. Yeah. Well, you get Skybound miniseries, which we've started as well, and we're recording the next one of those next week with the new. Well, actually, it'll be out by this. I think, will it be out by this time? I don't know. It's the future thing again. But with Skybound issue 4, we're going to get on that again. Transformers issue 4, that'll be fun. And then you're right. You get J Swaggy's miniseries as well. J Swag
Titans Return. Yes.
Titans Return. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is appropriate for 2 things, because number 1, you talk about Titan's Return, and number 2, you are a Titan returning to the toy line.
That's true. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah, that's. I'm going to use that on the next episode, I think, as well.
That was as painful as one of my jokes, Sixo.
It was a joke. Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yes.
Slipped into my Liam identity there for a minute.
You didn't get a letter. You did not get a...
Oh, he's got it right there, look.
Tell us about your blooming letter then, go on.
Well, guys, anyone who's been listening for a while may recall we once had a message from Denzel in Washington, and I have the physical evidence here. I got a physical letter through the post with
handwritten. Wow.
Snail mail. Did it have a Transformers Royal Mail stamp on it? I can't remember.
It had a sticker of Overlord in like a love heart on the back, which was quite neat.
That's nice.
Oh, that is cool.
Thank you, Denzel. But yeah, it just sent a lovely message that says, to the Triple Takeover team, I know it's been a while since we last spoke. I don't know what his actual accent is, obviously, because we only discuss and converse in text form. But I like to think about this. But I wanted to drop you a letter that is a physical piece of evidence to thank you for all that you do. Thanks for putting the good form into Transformers. Merry Christmas, your faraway friend, Denzel from Washington. See?
There we go. Proof.
Yeah.
You guys didn't think it existed?
Physical proof.
It's very suspiciously on a TF Nation headed...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, that was a bit of a giveaway, wasn't it? Thanks, Billy.
Well, maybe he's been on a TFN's Redbubble store and bought some headed paper because
maybe
could be a Patreon.
Redbubble,
that's true.
You can get all sorts of stuff. Like if you head over to the Triple Takeover Redbubble page, you can get all kinds of mugs, t-shirts, all sorts of paraphernalia, just like Denzel from Washington did. Those mugs still doing a roaring trade in those dudes. Sixo's like pinnacle of his creative spark.
Yes. Why not? Yeah.
But yeah, head over there, rebel.com/people/Triple Takeover/explore.
Explore.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Crushed it. No post-it note required.
No, look at that. URL and Patreon. Love it.
It's all firing, isn't it? On all cylinders.
It's all popping.
Cooking with gas.
Popping.
Popping. It's popping. What can I say?
Yeah.
Proper popping. So, clear plastic then. As I said already, this is one of the big kind of pitfalls of, well, I was going to say modern collecting, but vintage collecting as well. It's, if anything, probably a little bit kind of different vintage and modern in some ways, but anyways, clear plastic in it. Now, we are going to talk about some of the things that can go wrong with clear plastic in toys a little bit later. We're going to keep you waiting on that. But there are some good things to say as well, aren't they? It's not all bad. I know some people, as I say, on the old interwebs, sometimes whenever a clear plastic figure is presented, people kind of, I think, leap to the negatives a little bit too quickly, because I actually have plenty of good things to say about clear plastic. What about you, gents?
Yeah, well, when it's used as a detail, done really well, I think it's something that I look forward to in a toy, like, say, on a car with a windscreen or windows, or little bits like that, little just features like that. It's something to look forward to. And there's so many examples of Transformers that have done it really well over the years. It's like a real key feature from the early years as well, isn't it? Like when you think of all the Datsuns and all of the Autobot cars, everything like that, they've all got clear plastic in them somewhere.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know, for that regard, it really has always made a big difference to vehicle modes in my mind. And there have been plenty of successful Transformers vehicle modes without clear plastic windows, you know, with just solid block windows and things like the Throttlebots, the 1988 Power Masters always come to mind for me, like Getaway and things like that. Look great, regardless of, you know, not having clear plastic, or the Battle Chargers, things like that as well. But there's still something, isn't there, about that clear plastic canopy on a car mode?
Yeah. There is that thing as well, though, that I was thinking about earlier, where a lot of those G1 figures, they have the clear canopy like the Insecticons do, which was my first thought when I started thinking about clear plastic. That kind of yellow.
They practically glow as well.
They do, and they look great.
Orangey yellow.
Yeah,
it really makes
it looks really
those toys
good.
pop.
Yeah, exactly. And but it's for the little Diaclone figures, wasn't it? That's why you could see the little driver inside them. So that's the reason that bit was transparent. I think of like Sunstreaker, you know, as you said, all the cars.
Grimlock and all of that as well.
Grimlock as well. Yeah, they just have that little bit of clear plastic. And it was just an addition that wasn't part of the transformation for the most part on the Dinobots or whatever. But, you know, it was, as you said, Liam, it was part of the actual model, which made it really nice, particularly in the car modes. I really liked it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess thinking about it, you know, really the cars and everything probably had the clear plastic because of the pilots as well, didn't they? Because, all right, it looks nice on the car mode, but actually you wanted to see your little driver when it was Diaclone, you know, through the window or whatever. So I'm sure that was a big part of the impetus for it.
Yeah, it's functional, but also, like, the way those cars are designed, they're designed to be like small model cars, and small model cars would have clear windows and stuff as well, aren't they? So
true. It
makes sense as to why they're there. It's just like a small... They're not something that's like a heavy, like some toys now you get the maybe all clear plastic or stuff like that, or they've used clear plastic in places where you wouldn't need to use clear plastic, but it's just how it's molded, isn't it? So whereas on the vintage toys, it's not like that. It's always where there's a window or some reason or a cockpit or something, isn't it?
Yeah, think about like all the Seekers. You know, that's although it's funny because I think about this right, but I don't know if you guys are the same, but the Seeker jets, what normally went in the cockpit when I transformed that into alt mode was
the wheel.
The wheel,
gear.
exactly. The landing gear.
Always.
And then for Optimus Prime, it was the fists. So you can see that through the windows.
Yeah.
That's all you saw.
Very true.
So
I still do
storage.
that now.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly.
Yeah, 'cause it's the safest place. Doesn't go in the accessories box, goes in the actual alt mode.
Yeah, exactly. Well, otherwise you've got a nose cone just rubbing on the floor, haven't you? Nobody wants that.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
That's not good, is it?
Need to suspend them from the ceiling.
Yeah.
But do you know there was one line that didn't use clear plastic in vehicle kind of car modes and stuff that much when I was looking earlier, and that was animated. They were all, for the most part, painted windows. So they had like on the activators, they were painted, and they used clear plastic on other bits. Like Ultra Magnus had his massive hammer that had clear plastic at either end.
Yeah, it does.
So they shifted it, and it was they used a lot of metallic paint and stuff like that. So it was just like kind of just solid one piece.
I think it depends on the figure, doesn't it? Because like I'm looking, and like animated Hot Rod has got a clear canopy, for example. But yeah, you're right. Then others don't. So it sort of seems to vary a little bit. But the funny thing is that, I mean, just going back to the sort of Diaclone era stuff and the sort of early days, I'm just thinking about it now. I don't recall hearing many problems of breaking clear plastic from those days. Maybe Jazz was the only one, or the Datsuns.
The classic thing with the Datsuns is always that the canopy is torn off. But it's not that the windshield is cracked. Like
exactly.
Modern Studio Series Jazz is famous because it cracks at the joint on the windscreen. But it's the thing with the Datsuns. You often will find that the windscreen and the rear windows, because they're the shins, aren't they? And they're always intact as well. Then it's not them that's cracked or snapped, or they don't shatter.
Exactly. It's not as a result specifically of clear plastic, I don't think.
No. Yeah, it's not that they've got weaker and more fragile and broken. It's usually somebody has stamped on it, like my brother, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Or handled it in a way that is sort of undesirable. But there was a lot of clear plastic in those days, and I don't recall, of the many, many breakages that you can get on G1 toys, I don't recall clear plastic, certainly in the early days, being a big problem. But then I think it kind of, I'm sort of looking over G1, I think it kind of phased out anyway after the sort of first couple of years. Yeah, realistically.
Think back to the Headmasters, where they have they all had the giant canopies, don't they?
Yeah,
enormous canopies.
Yeah.
And it's not often you find those smashed to pieces, or they get scratched a lot.
They get scuffed.
Yeah, that's
majorly.
Scuffs, yeah.
But that's common. But that's not
that is
the same
what it
thing
is.
as what we're talking about, say, with modern toys, where the toys break. But I think maybe there's a difference in the plastic, because when I feel like the G1, say the Datsuns, just go back to them, like when I feel them canopies, it's almost like not rubbery, but there's a bit more give, if you know what I mean. They feel a little bit more, a bit more flexibility to them, whereas like Montoys, they feel a lot stiffer and possibly more brittle.
So the thing for me though is that, so I've got my smokescreen from when I was a kid, and that's the back window's broken, and that's painted plastic, clear plastic on the back, and that was always the bit that, because when you turn the hips round, you flip it up, and if that got jammed, that would stress it, and then it would just give away eventually. But was that due to the clear plastic, or was that just because, we were all trying to transform it too quickly, or we'd given it to one of our parents who couldn't transform Transformers?
Well, exactly.
But it was a common break. It was like it's like you're saying about like Jazz, the back of his head that would snap off, and you see the hood, the top part of the
eBay is littered with Datsuns, isn't it? Missing the canopies, where they've just been snapped off the front
convertibles,
the back of the head.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But going back, like you say about the Headmasters, I mean, like the irony being that something like Hardhead, the common break on that is the chest panel, which is solid plastic. It's not clear.
Yeah.
And if you open that too much, it is going to break pretty much. And there are known G1 toys with these stress points or whatever that I'm trying to think, but I don't. Many of the examples are not clear plastic.
Yep. So one that is haunting me is Overlord. So the doors on his chest.
Right,
and the stress marks at the actual kind of pin on the chest, and that's white plastic,
Yeah, solid. Yeah,
Scatshot's wings, famous. They seize up and then they will crack and snap, and they're not clear plastic. I just think it's a different type of clear plastic they used back then, because when you think back to it, like how it feels, or when you pick up toys, it feels noticeably different to modern clear plastic. But then I suppose there's nearly a 40-year gap, isn't there, between them? So,
well, there is, but isn't that kind of the irony that the joke, I say joke, maybe not a joke, that people always make about clear plastic is that it's not going to last? I mean, I remember Maz telling me that, I think it was at TF Nation. It was, I remember, because he told me that. I think it was the first TF Nation I went to, and he bought a clear plastic Diaclone powered suit and showed it to Paul Hitchens that we all know and has been on the pod before and things like this. And Paul literally said to him, he was like, "Oh, that'll be dust by the time your daughter is X years old or whatever else." Really? And he was a bit like, kind of okay then, and yeah, well, I think he knew, and you accept, don't you, with clear plastic toys that there is that risk, there is that danger, but you equally, you don't want to necessarily be told about that when you're trying to enjoy a new thing.
Yeah,
exactly. When you've just got it and you're all elated about it, the last thing you want is someone going, "Oh, that's going to turn to dust." But it's funny because we're talking about 40-year-old toys still being largely intact, bar maybe one or two kind of choice examples. Whereas actually now with like modern toys, there's often a feeling that like, oh, got to be careful with these from day one. Are they going to last?
I think it's very different though, isn't it? Because it's the way that they're used. Like it's evolved from when you go back to that era. The clear plastic was never in a place really to be that was put under particular pressure.
Joints,
like even the ones on the shins for the Datsuns, they could snap, but I think that would have happened whatever kind of piece was there because it's just the place of the piece. It's not the clear plastic itself.
Yeah, it's user error.
Fragile. Yeah. On G1, like you look at the canopy for the Datsuns again and Jazz, and it's just one piece, but it doesn't clip anywhere. Whereas now you get a lot of larger pieces of clear plastic that clip together. So
I agree.
Then suddenly there's these different forces being placed on them, and it's been asked to do a different job as to what it was doing on vintage toys. Like you get joints made out of clear plastic now. Like when you think back to G1, someone is probably going to go, there was a toy like that, but it's really hard to think of any. Like if you look at say Datsun, the Vans, the Nissan Vans, Ironhide and Ratchet, like the clear plastic is just the windows, and then it's on
the insert.
Yeah, totally.
I see, those must be clear plastic, aren't they? The trailer, the sort of battle sled.
No, I think they're
little window panes.
They are.
Yeah.
The little window panes that go in.
That's what I mean. A lot of G1 is like that. They actually just use pieces of clear plastic. Not all of them, but some places as windows. But it's not painted. Whereas now you wouldn't get that now. Now it'd be like the whole section has to be clear plastic.
Yeah. So Generation 2, and I can't remember the name of the figure, but there was a figure that was had clear plastic. Was it the color changer ones? But they had like a lot of painted clear plastic on them. And the only reason I know that is because I got one in a junker box and it was scratched heavily. And it was, in my mind, I always like that's kind of G2 kind of did that where they just had like this kind of shiny, transparent plastic part to it and then painted over it. But you could tell because the color of the paint would be different compared to the other body as well. But that always made me nervous because they would just be, there was a lot of
and a lot of G2 toys, let's be fair, are quite fragile as well. I mean, it was not the era for quality plastics necessarily and things like that going on. And a lot of the toys do have you can feel it, a significantly cheaper feel to them. I've definitely seen a lot of that, and then GPS and everything as well. That's a whole other topic. Cool. But no, you're right, and I think you did get a lot more painted over clear plastic at that point. That's kind of when that started, and that's what you see now on modern toys. Like, I feel bad that we're going to use Studio Series Jazz as like this common example, but it's a good one. And even stuff like Earthrise Snapdragon, I really noticed it on that when I got that in hand, because that's got a huge clear plastic section that's all painted over. To kind of then give you this window. But you're right, the flip example to that I think is really interesting is something like the G1 Vanette, Ironhide or whatever, because you're right, it does have these little insert windows, as I would describe them, like chunks of clear plastic inserted into a solid plastic kind of
frame,
base, if you like.
Shell.
Frame. Yeah.
It's to act like an actual window, isn't it? It's
yes.
That's the sort of the difference now, whereas the way toy manufacturing works now, it would be like in the budget they'd look at, right, we want to have a clear plastic window.
It's a budget,
so we have to make all of these other parts, this whole section. Like sticking with the Datsuns, but the Earthrise Datsuns are an astonishing example of this, where the shins have got the clear windows, but it means the whole shin is
right.
Yeah, it's
true. Saving this for later because this is a terrible example. This is one that's
we've inevitably gone to the bad stuff, haven't we? We said we would start with the good stuff, but
it means that it is clear plastic, and you're like, it's such a joint that's going to be moved, and you contrast that with, say, the vintage Datsuns, and that clear plastic part on the shin, that was a small flappy piece.
Yeah.
There's no resistance to it. So
exactly.
that means it's not like it's going to be, have these forces pushed on it because it's just a flappy piece. So it's going to survive.
I was going to say that about the G1 Datsuns, because you're right. It occurred to me that actually a big part of the reason that they're more successful is because, well, A, they don't peg into anything. Even in the car mode, they just rest in place, essentially. But, if you, in robot mode, if you do kind of jiggle the toy, they're frictionless. They move around quite happily. And I think that's by design, very simply. I'd never really thought about it, to be honest, before, but it makes total sense. Whereas you're right, actually, I have Earthrise Prowl, and I was stunned to see how much clear plastic is in the legs of that thing.
So I've got that behind me up there unopened, and I didn't know that until you just said that. So now I'm going to be very cautious.
Well,
when
it depends.
Open
If you got the dead version, I believe they fixed it for that because I think it's all a solid piece.
It's
a real shame because I really like those molds. They're good fun, but you just see that and you think it's not going to last. You see the things
Mine's broken.
obviously. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Right. Not the legs, but it's got the convertible scenario. The whole canopy sections come off. It's so funny. I posted a picture of it, something online, and people were like, "No, the clear plastic." It was one of those. And I did think, it got me.
I'll tell you what I will do though is I'll bring us back onto the good because it's a legacy figure as well.
Positive Jason. This is what we need.
Yeah.
This is light piping. And the legacy figure for Scourge. So I don't know if you've seen that. I actually posted a photo of his light piping on my Instagram a while back. But absolutely stunning example of light piping. Like has these piercing red eyes. It's a black figure with the teal color.
Toys should have light piped eyes.
It looks amazing. So good. And that is one of my favourite uses of clear plastic on any toy.
Although I will say, gonna call you up on this. How are you going to mention amazing light piped eyes and Scourge in the same sentence and not talk about the vintage 2000 or 2001 toy? Because
I thought you were going to say Rotorstorm.
This is why. Because as soon as you start this conversation, it does exactly that, which is like, but what about that one and that one? And there's tons of really good examples.
It's only because you said Scourge that I was like, but the original though is.
Oh, Jason, you don't know the half of it in Sixo's light piping whataboutery. There we go.
I'm famous for it. Yeah, it's my other character. It's what I do. Just that. But no, but I only mentioned it because the original Laser Magnus was sort of just after and you're right, Liam, it started really with Turbo Masters and Predator Jets and all of that in the early 90s. Hasbro Europe, Andy Cousins.
Of course.
Doing us proud. That's where it came from. Amazing. And just the Turbo Masters in a way, particularly Rotorstorm, I think you're right. I would argue it's rarely been bettered, actually. And I would say that RID Scourge is one of the few examples that maybe comes as close, but it's just perfect, absolutely perfect. But then Laser Prime picked up on that and did that really well. It was 93, 94 offhand, and then obviously the Car Robots toy and the RID toy picked it up and gave him red eyes, and just put it into overdrive for me. But I agree with you. Light piping is one of the best uses of clear plastic.
Yeah, I was going to mention RID as well because RID used it quite a lot, and even to some of the weapons, some of the smaller figures as well. Yeah, they did. Which one of mine just gave up quite recently. Didn't come out of the hand when I tried to pull it, and it just broke at the peg as well.
So you brought us down again, Jason.
I know, but so this is the thing.
Positive, Jason, bring him back.
It's a bit Russian roulette, though, isn't it? But it was kind of just like, but it was so unexpected.
Yeah,
because I was trying to think about one that's actually a figure that's broken because of it being clear plastic that wasn't my fault or something like that. And could I say that? Maybe. I don't even know if it was a clear plastic gun thinking about it, but nothing immediately comes to mind. for that as well. It is me being Mr. Positive and just loving it. Is the clear plastic part of it was always just the fun part of it.
I actually put in my notes. I made some notes of which I have shared with you, as you know. Which is
as you know.
Yeah, good, excellent. I'm glad you did. Of good things about clear plastic, like why is it used, good reasons, and one of them I put was fun factor, because
absolutely,
I think it's a thing.
Yeah, totally.
It's there as it's like an accent, isn't it? It's almost like accent lighting, and that's what clear plastic is designed for, because you don't put it in unless you are intending to draw someone's eye to it. That's the only reason it's put into a toy, is for a feature of some, like a windscreen. It's so you can see, look, it's a clear window, or light piping, or when people use it for guns or missiles and things like that, it's to make it look visually striking and different, isn't it? That's what they're there for. Like little crystals, and was it spark crystals and things like that, like
spark
weird
crystals,
little stuff like that. It's some sort of detail that's visually going to draw you.
Spark crystals is a great example, actually. That is fun. Yeah.
So they're supposed to be fun and interesting. That's what it's there for.
I think even stuff like, I'm looking at it's sitting opposite me, but the new Volvo VNR 300 Prime that they've done, or the Christmas version.
Yeah.
And that has a clear, Christmas Prime. That has a clear chest.
There's no need to be afraid.
Sure.
He's off on a little sing-song.
Yeah.
Band-Aid. It's Christmas Prime. There's no need to be afraid.
Christmas is over, Sonny boy. We've done that.
The war is over.
That was 2 episodes ago. Right. Moving swiftly on. Old Soapbox Geldof over there.
Soapbox Ono.
Right. That toy has a clear plastic chest. And it's interesting because it's a very deliberate choice to have it be clear plastic. It's painted over, but it's a particular panel. It doesn't feature in the vehicle mode, although the vehicle mode does have clear plastic insert windows. Interestingly, that has insert windows. That's the phrase I'm going with, by the way. Insert windows. I don't know if that's the thing.
That's how windows work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just pieces.
A
of
window
plastic.
pane. Let's call it
a proper window pane. That has proper
what
window
year
pane.
was this? What toy from?
Volvo VNR Optimus, the new one.
So it was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year. Yeah, last year. Well, the Volvo version was
Windows 23.
Good God! Did you?
It's like we're back at skill writing.
Oh my God! I walked into that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gonna struggle to recover my train of thought now.
Oh, no.
Dear Lord.
Choo-choo.
Right, yeah.
Speaking of trains and light piping, what about the masterpiece?
We'll come back to that. Anyway, this Volvo VNR thing, but no, the chest is really cool because it allows you to see the matrix underneath ultimately, and that's why they've done it. It's the fun factor of you could just block the window boobs off if you like, but you want to see the matrix underneath, and so it's a conscious choice and it's a bit of fun.
To you, a figure that I have that uses a lot of clear plastic is Supreme Class Unicron.
I thought you were going to say Cheetor then. I swear.
No, yeah. I'm not going to go there. Don't want to bring that up. But Amada did it on a few choice
You bring
figures.
it up a lot, though.
I do. That's true. I know. It's because we're waiting for that one episode where you just sob trying to transform it.
I think he loves it. I think he twirls around in his chair, stroking it.
Sitting looking at me right now.
Almost as much as you do, secretly.
Almost as much. Nobody could do it as much as me.
That's what we should do. We should all turn up at TFN just with them on our lap. Just like
Liam would have to acquire one.
Oh, that's true. Oh, sorry,
first.
Liam. Yeah, it's going to happen.
I'm all right. I'm a dog person, so
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say Catilla, but he's a cat as well, isn't he?
It's in the name.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Cat-illa. Oh no, the name.
Oh my God, Jason! This is almost like Insecticons again.
Seacons.
Seacons.
They're all out to get me.
Oh, they're from the sea. Oh.
Wow.
Baddies from the sea.
Catilla turns into a cat.
This podcast should now just be titled "Educating Jason."
It is, isn't it? It's like, it's in the name.
He's not a dog then.
I'm a visual guy. That's what it is.
He looks like a cat.
He does.
Bloody saber-toothed tiger.
That's true, yeah. Oh no. Oh dear. I need to go and get a biology book.
Can't help you there, mate. But anyway,
yeah, Supreme Class Unicron. It's because he's got the massive planet mode panels,
That's
with
true.
wings. But the
panels.
great thing about
Big
that
flaps.
is flaps. That you can see all the greebly bits inside the planet mode, so it adds this really nice effect, and it's got that tint to it as well. And I really like them for what they bring to the toy. And he's got the electronics in it as well, and he's got the orange transparent fist as well for kind of lighting up and just little details like that. So I felt that Armada was quite good. A
bit like Supreme Cheetor, actually. That's got clear plastic with light-up features underneath. That's a really good example as well.
Supreme Cheetor has everything, let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's just threw it all at
incredible
it.
toy. Incredible toy. That's why you keep bringing it out.
So you guys can just get it out your system.
It'll never be out of my system. Never.
Like catnip.
Yeah. Oh, God. You are right, though. That's what you give to cats, by the way, Jason. Not dogs.
I know that
Catnip.
much. I know that much.
Not dogs.
Not dogs.
But no, you are right about Unicron. It's a great example, actually. And I don't recall, I'm looking at 4 different versions of that toy, believe it or not.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking at them right now.
That's the only one.
Well, I don't recall it ever being a worry about that clear plastic.
Yeah.
It's quite thick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's thick. It's big and chunky. It's ball and socket joints. Because they pop off quite easily, and then you can attach it. It doesn't. But it's like you said earlier, Liam. But it feels a bit more not rubbery, but a bit softer plastic, a bit more forgiving.
Yeah, it's a little bit of flexibility that saves it from being as brittle. I've got the 25th anniversary one. For the movie Unicron. Yep. I don't think that has any plastic for the planet, unless it's painted over.
The Takara one?
No, I've got the Hasbro one. The movie version of that same one. That the Takara one was the Universal Dominator one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Dominator. I've got that one.
Is that not painted grey in that one? I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it's... I've never noticed it's clear plastic. The hand is still clear plastic. That part I know. Also has that amazing light-up feature in its eyes, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But again, the hand, I've never worried about the hand. No. Never once thought, got to be careful with this hand. Might break.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's handy.
It's a really nice posable hand as well. It's cool. It's
yes.
Happy New Year, guys.
Stay with me, guys.
Good God. Way to get us off track again. But no, you're right. I do think that the clear plastics, it was almost like it came good again in that sort of 2000s, early 2000s era, didn't it? It was like there are examples. But, I'm thinking of stuff like Sideburn, RID Sideburn, or Car Robot Speedbreaker, if you will. That has a lot of clear plastic in it. I've never had mine break. I don't know. I've never had a problem. Although, actually, the Prowl does break, doesn't it?
Yeah, so this is bringing me back to... this is bringing me back to bad now, because this is one of my ones for later. But my Prowl...
What a roller coaster.
Absolutely scratched.
Wow.
It's just absolutely
Whoa,
ruined.
Jason.
I know. It really upsets
Jay swears.
What is this New Year Jason here? Is it depressed?
No, right?
Swearing?
This is trauma, this one. This is like...
Turning up with his bad attitude and his potty mouth, honestly.
Yeah. He's lost that swanks about him.
It's 2024 me, where I'm just like, I'm venting. But it is the top canopy on that Prowl is basically just gone completely clear.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's so badly yellowed as well on the front.
That's a shame.
It was a weird one. It was like just suddenly one day it was just ruined. Yeah.
Well, that is, and again, we're not in the bad section. This is the good place.
Yeah.
But it's really the bad place.
It's just contrasting.
That's exactly. But you're right. Actually, you kind of alluded to another facet of clear plastic that is a bit of a woe, which is when you do get that painted over canopy. Particularly on white toys, you very often get a bit of a color difference, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, the one I always remember actually is G1 Hurricane, which is very much like RID Prowl. I remember endless conversations with Maz. He was looking for a G1 Hurricane, and he would send me pictures because I think I had it at the time. Going, do you think this is yellowed? And it would be like trying to get the color match between, even on sealed copies, between the solid plastic like bonnet or whatever and the clear plastic painted over canopy, because the clear painted plastic is solid bright white, and if the solid plastic yellows, it's it's a problem.
Even on clear plastic like Wheeljack, G1 Wheeljack is a sod for that, isn't he? Because obviously the front of his legs and the front of the car are die cast, and so they're painted white, and then the back of the car is white plastic. So it's always really hard when you look at it. You think, has it started to yellow? And you're like, actually hasn't. It's just the white paint they use was so much more vivid than the actual white of the plastic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. But then also, if the toy does yellow, it shows it up like a bastard, doesn't it? It's immediate. You're like, yep, it's yellow.
I'm swearing.
Yes, dropping it. F-bombs.
It's a therapy session. I know.
Yeah. It was inevitably going to be that way as soon as we started talking about clear plastic, wasn't it?
Who's editing this one?
I think it's me.
Yes! There we go.
Absolute mother.
Well, whenever I'm editing one, you always seem to like level up your swearing game, both of you. Or no, not you, Jason. Obviously, just
that's the first time I've sworn. I said it once.
Yeah.
Just
once. Well, Maz swore like a trooper, didn't he? Let's be fair, but
that's
had to cut it all out because of all the horrible things he would say. But yeah. But let's get back on with the good, because there is some fun factor. Constantly get onto the bad, but there is a lot of fun factor. I think actually spark crystals was a good one because I had forgotten about that. But I think there's like a lot of like energy weapons and those kind of stuff. I think that's very successful sometimes to kind of give the look of like, you know, shooting energy or something that kind of works.
Can I bring up a really good use of clear plastic?
It's the section for it.
Generation 1 Sound Blaster. So his chest has the red chest.
Oh
yeah. And you get, is it Buzzsaw?
Yeah.
And when you put Buzzsaw into the chest piece, it then shows it does a little kind of red decoder trick, and it shows the weak parts for Fortress Maximus on the actual chest, which is the best use of clear plastic
ever. Is that right? I
Yes.
had no clue about this. Is this true?
Yeah. So if you get your Sound Blaster, and it's on the I think I've got the reissued version, and because when you put Buzzsaw in a certain way, the sticker's different, and when you put the sticker in, it does the same thing as the red decoder, and there's a little image of Fortress Maximus, and that shows all the kind of weak parts for way to attack him, and it's such a cool Easter egg. I love it. Amazing.
I had genuinely no clue about this, and I'm astounded. I've literally just looked at it on the wiki as well, and I'm like, how did I not know this?
It's brilliant, isn't it?
We've not spoken about it before, have we? I don't think.
No,
that's really good.
Brand new information for me. This is incredible.
God, that's a first, I think. You know,
I'm astounded that I didn't know this. Genuinely never heard that.
Have you got the figure? Have you got? Yeah. So you could do it later. It's really fun, and I remember.
Canoe.
Yeah, it's like but it was just the fact they went for that, and it was always fun with Soundwave to have they put the cassettes in, see it inside. That was always wasn't ever bothered about that ever breaking. Same with Blaster. I was totally cool. But just to level that up and bring that kind of red decoder,
that's amazing.
Into the toy, really nice.
But
really,
while we're there talking about Sound Blaster and his chest, can I just mention this? This leads into another great part of clear plastic, which is red and hot pink. When you get those colours, there's clear plastic windows on stuff. Like is it G2? Is it Sideswipe? Does he have red tinted windows?
Not well. He does on the Masterpiece.
And the Masterpiece. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Not the original is just clear.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was thinking of the original, and it slowed down then because I was like, no, the original doesn't. It has clear.
There's like the accelerators as well. Have got those hot pink windows. They're actually G1 though. The European versions, because the G2 ones have got the black windows. But the hot pink windows on them are really quite striking as well. And, again, RID Scourge going to bring it back with his eyes light piping. Just incredible. And the windows as well.
That windscreen on Masterpiece Sideswipe is so nice.
Yeah.
That red. It's just perfect.
Actually, Masterpiece does it really well because I did a picture, whenever it was, of the black Convoy repaint of MP44, and that's got red windows, clear plastic windows, and I lined him up with Masterpiece G2 Sideswipe, and I think it was Nightbird, which has got a nice kind of green canopy, and there's just something about black repaints with funky coloured canopies that just looks amazing. And it almost ties them together in a kind of strange way. All these black repaints that actually are not designed to fit together thematically at all. But something about them all having these like day glow, super saturated clear plastic tinted windows, and the black paint just makes it look amazing.
Yeah, it makes it pop, doesn't it? It's really nice. And when you're putting that into photography, you can just get a really nice effect. Really quickly. Although it's that thing with I remember when I got Scourge, the Legacy Scourge, and I lived in the mill house on the farm at that time, and it had old kind of downlighters everywhere, and just finding myself walking around trying to find the perfect spotlight just to get that light piping, just to sparkle, and then get a shot of it as well without the light being inside it. But it's the first time that I can think of, like, Legacy. Did we get it before with light piping and any other figures, like in Generations?
Oh, no, there will have been over the years. I'm trying to think what in Generations through the past. It's bound to have been light piping, isn't there?
There must have been, right? No?
Yeah, because so I was looking at this, and, Chug, so like Classics had it back in the day. Classics had it quite nicely, actually, but as in transparent plastic. The Classics used it like in Prime and Ultra Magnus. They had different use of
Prime is a classic
plastic.
one for it breaking. That's one for like for fragility. Is a real classic.
Oh, really?
One.
On the I didn't know that.
The front halves of the cab, they're clear plastic, aren't they? And they're on the arm, and that often snaps. And I had that on the Ultra Magnus. Mine snapped on that. I'd forgotten about that. It snapped, but it snaps quite a bit, I think.
So I love that figure. I've got the third-party combat armor to make him into full-size Ultra Magnus on that as well.
Nice.
It's really nice.
One of the best upgrade kits ever made. Then.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I've got each version actually now. They're great. I didn't realize that though. But yeah, it's one big painted piece, isn't it? For the front on those as well.
Can of course be used for a lot of gimmicks as well. Clear plastic. I mean, we've mentioned about things like the clear windows to see the matrix and spark crystals and things like this, and light piping, of course. But there are others, I think, as well. I mean, again with weapons, that kind of stuff. But I think the other thing that I was sort of thinking of is sometimes, and actually there's a couple of examples in Classics and things like that, or Henkei and stuff, but it's like homaging, or homaging, I suppose I should say, the like specific media references. So like, actually the one I always think of is Piss Magnus.
Yeah.
I was initially thinking of the blue hot rod, the United hot rod, which is actually randomly a reference to the same thing, because it's all about matrix glow, isn't it? And those two toys bizarrely reference the same bit from Transformers the movie with the Matrix. It's how those characters are supposed to be sort of basked in the matrix glow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Magnus was definitely basking in something.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Rolling around on a public
or
floor
basking
somewhere.
or bathing in something, maybe.
Yeah, right.
It was in Catilla's Literature. That's what it was.
Yes. Supposedly the Magnus is more a reference to the Marvel comic, I think, because of the colour, whereas the hot rod is more a reference to the actual film itself. But I think that's kind of a neat homage, that you can use clear plastic in that kind of cool way. We've had a lot of Ghost Starscreams over the years that have used clear plastic for obvious, intent. So that's pretty cool. And, I think they've just unveiled another one of these, but of course there's stuff like Burning Convoy. Does that mean anything to you, Jason?
Burning Convoy, is he on fire?
Yeah, it's not a medical condition, if that's what you're... Yeah. You don't have to see anyone. Get a cream for it or whatever. Exactly. But no, it's a bit from Beast Wars 2nd.
Oh, right, okay.
From the little mini movie, there's a bit where we talked about Flash Lio Convoy, I think, in the Beast Wars 2nd episode. But there's a bit in the mini movie there where Optimus Primal, essentially, or Beast Convoy, comes forward in time and teams up with Flash with the Lio Convoy, and they combine their matrices and power up to become Flash Lio Convoy and Burning Convoy, respectively. Whoa. And so one of them, Optimus Primal, glowing red. Flash Low Convoy glowing kind of gold, and the toys are amazing. So you've seen the glittery
like a
Flash.
tomato, the toy does.
Yeah, well,
it's so red.
It really does.
Yeah, I've seen that. You've posted photos of that, have you?
We looked at it in the Beast Wars 2nd episode. Yeah. You may have sort of your memory may be a little bit foggy on it because it was shortly before we looked at the squidge. The squidge, which I got corrected on because of course it's a blooming octopus, isn't it? And I kept calling it a squid.
Yeah, it is an octopus.
And one of our patrons was aghast. I think it's fair to say.
The number
I can't
of
remember who.
Oh no, we were just too excited at that point and slightly delirious. And I
didn't have my biology book to hand.
Yeah, that's it. I know, that's what we need.
That was the thing. But
or Jason's.
I could when you finish with it.
I will. I'll pass it on. So we'll do a swap at TFN.
Yeah, find the Squidge chapter. But no, so those two toys are very good, I think, example of clear plastic, even though they're not the most robust. But there have then been, bizarrely, there's only ever been one flash layer convoy, but there've been many burning convoys, and there's just been a new one of the Kingdom mold unveiled today, I think, or this week. So, right. Which is kind of cool.
So, see, going back to convoy then, which is all clear plastic yellow.
Magnus, yeah.
So Magnus, Magnus, yeah. Sorry. Are you ever nervous transforming that?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Okay.
No, absolutely. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Like, of course. Yeah, it's a toy that I have transformed quite a few times, but I would be lying if I said I'm not nervous about it, because it feels solid enough, but it's an old toy now. You know, it's early 2000s, and it's all clear plastic. That's
so I was going to ask that, because I've never seen it, and I've never had
joints,
it in hands.
Everything,
right. So it's all clear. So there's no die cast, no chromed, like.
Well, in the cab, the cab is a normal Prime toy, Optimus Prime toy.
Oh, right,
yellow,
okay. Yeah.
Yellow with kind of blue legs and everything. Just yellow instead of red, basically. But the trailer section is 100% clear plastic.
Right. Okay.
And yes, it's nerve-wracking for sure, yeah. Because you just think, well, one wrong move here and
shattered.
And that's a toy that was cheap as chips for as long as you like, and now sells for stupid money, I think.
Yeah. So I think that's a factor as well, isn't it? About a nervousness of, and this is across the board with our collections, in that the 40-year-old toys, it's 40th anniversary this year, as we all know, and they're all getting older, and they're all getting more fragile.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, I don't really differentiate between, maybe naively, a clear plastic toy, personally, compared to another toy that I'm looking at. You know, I've like, is it Titan's Return Weird Wolf? The back of that one broke.
Famously
the
snaps.
hinge.
That's really common, isn't it?
Yeah. But is that, I don't think that's clear plastic, that bit, though, if I remember. Is it?
I think it is.
Is it?
Isn't it?
No, it's that kind of orangey red, isn't it? Yeah, slightly, because it flips back. But I just remember going to it and just looking at it, and it just came off in my hand, you know. But it's a tiny, and the thing is, it goes back to what you said right at the beginning, Liam, about the fact that is got a metal pin going through on pretty small drilled holes, and
exactly,
it's kind of inevitable when you think about it, that's going to go.
That's the thing, and look, we talk about this a lot on this pod, but I think there's always a point, isn't there, of acknowledging that these toys are not necessarily built or designed to last forever, you know. And so when you're talking about, you might only get however many years out of a particular toy, I don't think it's acceptable when you see modern generations toys that are essentially new breaking. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 30 or 40-year-old toys wearing to the point where actually the plastic just wears out. I think there is an inevitability of it that you just have to think, okay, what can you do?
Yep. And that's the thing. So the reason I mentioned that as well is because, as you said, these are getting more expensive to find because there's ones that are breaking and they're sought after. Yeah. But I think of so I've got the reissue Fortress Maximus, but he's got clear plastic doors on his chest. He's got a few bits and bobs here and there.
Fragile, do they?
They don't. But I've never handled the original G1, and
But it's not like that chest door. It's not a tight part, is it? It's not like a real snap
hinge. It's got that. Yeah,
but it's.
Although I suppose it's clipped in. It's not a bar, is it? It's not a metal bar.
It's kind of a loose hinge as well, isn't it? Like if you pull it forward, it's generally going to just fall open.
Pop.
I think it sort of clips in, but it's quite loose. I think that kind of clear plastic is
okay.
It's probably less sturdy than a lot of other plastic parts, but I mean, I don't think it's like the jazz example. It's where it's made and straight away you can this is fragile when it shouldn't be. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, look, we're obviously going to come to the bad shortly, not just yet.
We're already doing that.
It's like, think of something good to say.
Let the darkness flow through
I know. You. Oh God, there must be more good to say. But the example I know I mentioned to both of you beforehand, and I think is very prevalent here, is JRX or Rail Racer, purely because they made that toy with both. So the original Takara version has a lot of clear plastic in it. I have it. And the subsequent 2001 Hasbro version, Rail Racer, has solid plastic. They replaced it, and I have it. And I can tell you which one I think looks nicer, and I can tell you which one I would rather pick up and play with. And you can probably guess. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to think too hard on that one. But I love my JRX, and it is a beautiful thing to have and display. I got it from Maz actually. But
one of his 17,000 that he's either owned or still owned.
He's had so many.
Has he really?
Yeah,
he's got them all, is he?
Yeah,
JRX is like his Bitcoin.
He's buying and selling them. It's like a side business, honestly.
His blockchain. He's just hoarding the stuff.
It really is. Just JRX constantly. I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing. But he sold me his, and the joints are fine, but one of the joints has got, I think, just a little bit of wear on it. You can see a crack. And it's enough to make me think I'll probably never transform it again. That's
a shame, though, isn't it? Like, I know before we get to the bad stuff, but this is such a shame with like these toys. Like you're talking about like Shining Magnus, for example, and stuff like that. And you like look at it and you go, it's a toy and it's a beautiful thing to have, to be amazing, but you're scared to touch it now. You are. There's a fear now. No matter who you are or how bothered about these things you are, there is always that acknowledgement in your back of your head, like, if I move this could break, and this could be the last time. And there's all these concerns now, and it's such a shame. Whereas I don't get that with, like, say, a vintage like Datsun or anything. I never ever pick it up and think, "Whoa, if I turn the legs, something's going to snap." It's never that thing, and it's just such a shame now that we have this with these toys, particularly as we're older and we collect these toys, and you kind of want to keep them in a great condition. And it's kind of almost like having these time bombs. Like I don't own JRX, and I've never owned JRX for that reason. Like I've always wanted the Hasbro version because I would just much rather sidestep the clear plastic thing altogether. Like it looks better, but not enough.
It does look better.
I'd rather have one that I could manipulate and enjoy rather than one.
That's the same for me. I want to be able to play with it and actually pick it up.
I mean, it's a very, very, very different experience with Rail Racer. I remember when I got it, I was like, oh man, I can do whatever with this thing. Obviously still be careful, but you can just go to town on it and have a lot of fun.
You can enjoy it, and that's the thing.
Exactly. Without that nagging feeling in the back of your mind, that's the thing.
When you've got those ones like that, though, like the JRX now, it's becoming something just to own, to have. It's that like it looks stunning, but it's no longer something that you can enjoy in the same way as you can the other one, or as you could originally. It's now a thing like, if I was to buy a JRX, it wouldn't be to play with it or enjoy it like I should.
Display.
It would be just to say, I've now got a JRX in my collection, rather than...
so much of it is painted over as well. The thing with JRX, and it's another reason why it's such a pertinent example, is because it has all of it going on. It's got large whole sections of, like the legs, for example, that are then painted over. So just whole sections of clear plastic that are covered in paint. So there's paint wear and all that you can get. But it also has clear plastic joints, and it's the joints that are the real worry on a combiner, and it's like, it looks incredible. It's such a pretty toy, but my God, it is a worry because, again, the weapons are made of clear plastic, or like some bits of them. I need to check actually, but I think from memory, the shield is clear plastic painted, stuff like this. And
the thing with this though is the reason that was done, which is absolutely a good, is because it looks cool. Yeah. And when they made it and they were designing it, they were like, that looks great, but let's make it clear plastic with these colours because it'll look amazing and it'll shine, and they're not thinking like 20, 30 years, 40 years down the line at all. They're just thinking what looks cool, and that's really great.
At the same time, though, there's an engineering aspect at play here. So they will have looked at like these materials, the tolerances, the life expectancy. There will have been people looking at stuff like that. So I'm always fascinated when they do use it like this. And you're like, we know it's going to break. And then you see it inevitably break. So obviously, then it's like, has something actually gone wrong? Say with Jazz, just to go back to the series Jazz, it's like, clearly when they put this toy together, they will have tested it and they would have done all sorts of formulas and stuff and sciencey Giblins, whatever that word is. The word there.
Giblins.
Sciencey Giblins.
Like, we know through these processes, like you'll have a toy designer will design a toy, but you'll have people in the background who are familiar with materials specifically and constructions of plastics. Josh,
yeah.
But like we talked about in the Yellowing episode, there will be people who have mixed these plastics and they know
Chemists.
what they're going to do. But then it goes wrong. It's like, how does it go wrong? And so when you look at something like put in like JRX or particularly Jazz, it's like clearly that's probably gone wrong earlier than they expected.
Yeah, I agree. Like GPS, it's the same.
Yeah, they wouldn't have put a toy out thinking, right, we know this is going to very quickly, or
they
even
don't want them
a
to
couple
break.
of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, when you think about it, it's kind of not a miracle as such, but it's amazing that these toys are 40 years later, predominantly still solid and still on display and still. It always fascinates me when you go to like Toy Food Stand at TFN and the amount of figures they have there that are in really solid quality. They've been pre-owned, they've been transformed multiple times. But let's not forget, these are for kids as well. They've been tested to destruction.
Well,
so that's a big part of it.
Isn't that kind of the key point here, though, is that we're talking about clear plastic as this sort of catch-all thing. But actually, it really depends on the toy, because some toys... even clear plastic, even solidly clear plastic toys, or that have a lot of clear plastic in them, can be given to a child and have the shit kicked out of them, and they're fine.
Yep.
Other toys, you can transform them twice and they break.
There are so many factors involved there, but as well, there'll be so many different mixes of the clear plastic.
Well,
like
this
you're saying,
is it. Yeah.
We're using it as a catch-all term as clear plastic, and then the temptation there is for people to think it's all one thing being used in different ways, but it's not. Because like we were saying about the vintage
the
stuff,
bajublins.
the bajublins, yeah. But there's like a flexibility to it, and it feels so different to something like the Jazz example again. Like you pick that plastic up, that feels different to JRX or to other toys. And so
100%.
there are so many different mixes involved. And then again, you've got so many tolerances on top of that, what these things can withstand. And things have changed over the years. Like we talked about with the Yellowing, and it would be like, you get this general impression that over the years, there's been a change to the mixes of plastic, hasn't there? I suppose to keep costs down, and just an evolution of, chemicals and things, isn't it? They will have found new ways to do the same things for cheaper or faster, or to be more sturdy, or for all sorts of, be more fire retardant, all sorts of reasons. And that same will go for clear plastic. And so that's probably why you end up with so many variances of so many different toys as well.
Well, there's different types of plastics as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
I'm actually wondering, why don't we get Josh on at some point?
Yes,
this is,
it would be
his friend of the pod.
Yeah,
scientist man.
I'd gone to his talk about for Yellowing at TFN, and that was it's fascinating. It was great, it was so good. And then he was talking about GPS. Yeah, we should
get him on with his bajublins.
He'll be able to explain it. Amazing. That'd be great.
Bajibble us all and talk us through it.
I'm going to throw a figure that, I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of until tonight when we were chatting about doing this episode. And if you know about the Transformers Prime Wheeljack mold, which is like a really nice kind of sporty car, Wheeljack's got the big kind of samurai sword type things.
Are you thinking of the blue one?
Yes. So the Dark Energon version.
Yeah.
That is an entirely, except for the, actually, ironically, except for the very top, unless that's painted. But you'll see it's like this crystal blue, and it's like Mirage that you can get as well. Was that Alternator? Or was that that was Alternator?
Vinyl Tech. Oh yeah, Raiji. Yeah, it's Vinyl Tech.
Siege one as well. The Siege Mirage. Here you go.
There's lots of clear Mirages now. Yeah, there's been quite a few.
And this is an exclusive. This Wheeljack figure,
beautiful,
but it looks great, doesn't it? Doesn't that look great? It's like he's been frozen. It just looks like
Jolly Rancher, doesn't it?
That's a very cool use of clear plastic. And again, talking about things like United Hot Rod and stuff like that, I do love those toys. I mean, I think that's what I really wanted to kind of... I know we have struggled to get away from the negative, it's true, but I didn't want this to just be like a bashing of the whole notion of clear plastic, because I think actually there are tons of great examples of clear plastic, and there are some legendary clear plastic toys out there that I wouldn't personally change, and I wouldn't not own, and we've talked about some of them tonight. Like, Piss Magnus, is it a worry to convert it? Yes. Would I change it? No, because it's an
amazing figure.
It's an incredible figure, and it's such an inherent.
Experienced it, and
it existed
exactly. That's kind of
exactly, and it's such an inherent part of that toy, the way that it's made, and the clear plastic that it's made with. you could have it in solid block plastic and it would just look weird. It would even more weird. But I wouldn't change it one bit. And I can think of lots of toys like that. Like the 3 Kyodai car robot brothers. The Sideburn, Speedbreaker, Makala, and what's the other one in Japanese? I can't remember. But the 3 of them, the brothers. Someone's going to at me now. No.
What's he called?
X-Brawn is the Hasbro name.
Yeah, X-Brawn's the Hasbro one.
And he's Wild Ride.
Wild Ride,
Ride. There we go, I got it. But the 3 Kaido clear set of that is amazing. I still get nervous handling them, but I wouldn't change them, because it's a thing in itself. It's a thing in its own right. Or like the clear Fire Convoy and Ultra Magnus set.
Totally. There's even like the Spy Changers that are in red, that are like Rev.
Again, I think it's where the clear plastic is used. Like once it starts becoming a figure, there are so many more points, aren't they? But like, if you look at this picture of Blue Wheeljack over here, you see next to him the swords, and you're like, now that is a phenomenal use of clear plastic. Like use the blades, the orange blades. Yeah. Like when you get Dinobots now and they have clear plastic red blades, and you're like, that is the perfect use for clear plastic. Stuff like that.
It's good shout.
Yeah. Do you know, it's actually interesting looking at Transformers Prime that the majority of the weapons are clear plastic. And that was like their, not a gimmick as such, but they look great. They look so cool. And think of here's a great example of the use of clear plastic. The fire explosion effects that came out for all the different Legacy and Generations figures. They're really nice. They're really lovely.
The old Johns.
Don't make that joke again, please. It was funny. You can make it if you want. I don't mind.
The Jimmies.
Yeah. So that's a sort of very soft thing, though, isn't it? Sort of slightly different, maybe. But I guess that was it, really, for me. I just wanted to make sure that for as much as clear plastic can be terrifying, and we are going to get into that, it has its good uses as well, I think, is the kind of key thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Light piping.
There we go. Exactly that. Exactly that.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Right, well, it's that time for the part of the pod where we talk about our sponsor, and that is, as ever, tfsource.com. Do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. And we have had a little fiddle around on the site, and we are going to choose a toy that's up for pre-order right now and just talk about it, basically, because that is our want. And Liam, you spotted this one, didn't you?
Yes, I did, because I've always really liked the design, and I've seen it before. But it is WT02 Sky Atlas from what I believe is a company called Wonderful Trans. It's this fantastic third-party Optimus Prime, and it's based on an old Flame Toys figure. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a Kuro Karakuri line. I looked it up because I was like, I recognise it as a Flame Toys figure.
Oh, is that what it is? It's based on...
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense, actually, because it's so stylized.
So they've obviously... Someone has taken a liking to it and decided to make it so it transforms.
So, yeah, because the Flame Toys one, I guess, would have been non-transformable, just like a model kit?
No, this would have been one of the expensive ones as well. So it would have been ones that's like all pre-done, well, light up features and stuff like that. I saw it at TFN one year. They had, remember when Flame Toys used to have a display there sometimes?
Vaguely. I've never really paid major attention to Flame Toys, to be honest, for various reasons. But yeah, no, I've never really kind of looked into them. But this looks pretty cool.
It does. It's very on brand as well. Look at the use of clear plastic. There's a nice clear plastic axe, and he's got nice little window panes for his boobs.
Yeah.
You know,
I do like the picture of the boob windows opening to reveal the Matrix.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's
really good. They're like, it's here, lads. Don't worry, we've got it.
Tick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just got such a unique, interesting, different Optimus Prime look. Like I'm really into the Reactivate one at the minute, but this just something weird and sci-fi about it. Like this chest, it doesn't look like any other Optimus Prime, but at the same time, it's got all of those hallmarks. Like the truck mode is a little strange, almost for Optimus, but then the more you look at it, the kind of stranger and cool it becomes. It's almost quite Cybertronian.
It is. I was going to say that as well.
Yeah, it really is.
He's also got like Wolverine-style claws.
He does.
In one of the shots as well.
And those claws actually wrap around on the front of the vehicle mode.
Oh, make the kind of bull guard.
Kind of. Like a cow catcher almost. I don't know.
From the truck to me, it looks like a train, a type of train, and I I can't.
Oh, you're like a big diesel loco, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's kind of
totally.
a real fun, different-looking Optimus. Like, I'm really impressed they managed to figure out how to turn it into a truck.
It does look like a train, or like an armoured sort of vehicle, armoured personnel carrier type thing. I don't know.
But you look at the wheels, it's clearly supposed to be Cybertronian, isn't it? And it's just, just fun and interesting. Like, I like you can mount the stuff on the side, but I'm just fascinated by the fact that somebody saw that Flame Toys kit and rolled the sleeves up and went, right, I'm turning that into a truck. I'm making it transform.
Making that transform.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I like how stylized it is. The picture of it, it's got his rifles on the side there as well.
Yeah.
That are just
little missile pods.
Yeah, a little spoiler. I love the jetpack that he's got.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool, isn't it?
I like the axe. Is it the axe that splits apart to become a shield?
Yeah, that's right.
Or is the shield separate? I don't know, actually.
No, I think it's like this. I wonder if it spins. It's got two parts to it so that it can flip
looks
around.
Cool. However,
it does
it works,
look really cool. Yeah.
Are you going to get this, Liam?
No.
Oh,
brilliant.
Oh, I will then.
It's too big. It's really big, and
is it big?
Oh, it's 10 inches. Yeah,
masterpiece sort of size, isn't it?
It's not that big.
Like there are pictures of it next to other toys. It says sort of masterpiecey sort of size. It's a little bit too. Just haven't got the space for that sort of stuff anymore.
It's a 2-hand job.
Oh, God. Just prime.
Just prime.
Yeah. Right. Well, if you can't handle the size of it, then stay off the website, I guess. I don't know.
What brings a new meaning to you?
Famous expression. Yeah, exactly. If you've got the touch, you can handle 9.8 inches, then
you want to go
good, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to go world's smallest then, Liam, instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for little hands.
Oh no,
he's gone. Little hand. It's like Jeremy Beadle.
Oh no.
Dear, oh dear. Anyway, wonderful trends is a thing. I'm sure we can all agree on that. And this does look really good. Really good.
Yeah.
It would never have caught my eye if you'd not mentioned it, but I like how it looks.
Yeah, there are pictures of it floating around on social media at the minute, and I saw a load more today, so it's quite a current thing. But yeah, just a really interesting looking toy.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what it's all about. And third party does do that quite well. It's fair to say that kind of stuff. Just random toys that don't fit into any other part of your collection, but they look cool. And why not?
I quite like the idea that's come from a third party, so Flame Toys to this version as well, which is quite nice. So these different,
is that like fourth party back to third
where
party?
we're at now exactly. Yeah, it's like
second
reinventing.
Party maybe license.
Yeah. It's a thing, whatever it is. So you can find that on tfsource.com. So do check that out, and indeed have a look at the site for all your Transformers and third party needs.
We now return to the Transformers.
So let's get back into it with clear plastic then. And I think, we've been so good in the first part of this episode. We've really held ourselves back from discussing any of the negatives. We've been so super positive, kept it absolutely relentlessly positive.
No swearing.
I think here, yeah, exactly. Here we can just unleash the demons, as it were, and just really go to town on this clear plastic.
Dark Jason is here.
Really get into it. So, clear plastic is a bit shit, isn't it?
It's a nightmare. Scratches.
Wow. Awful.
Got so many ruined figures.
All your figures are going to turn to dust.
All there'll be is dust in the wind.
I tell you the main thing that happens for me that I am unaware of, and it must be Gremlins that do this, but I mentioned it earlier, and Robots in Disguise Prowl is very badly scratched canopy, but also Alternators Wheeljack. Again, what you said earlier, Sixo, about the white, but the back of the canopy, just where the legs come in, just gets little tiny bits of chipped paint. And it's just so easy done. And alternators compared to Binaltech, the alternators are not as kind of sturdy, I guess, on the paint application. But I remember looking a while back at my alternators Wheeljack and hadn't really noticed. And I'd just been playing with it and kind of enjoying it. And it's not a huge deal because it's not like a super valuable figure or anything like that. But it was a bit of a shame because it just kind of ruins that really nice stripe that goes right across him. And I think that's when it gets me, is that, with those types of alt modes that look really lovely in the car mode, and they've just got the damage to an odd part of the car,
a blemish.
Yeah, it kind of ruins it a bit.
Takes the sheen off. Yeah, I must admit,
literally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Literally, yeah. It's not the first thing that I was going to kind of come to on the negative side, if you will, the hell bit. But
we're working our way up.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Or down.
It's all downhill from here. But the actually scratches on painted clear plastic is pretty egregious, isn't it? When you get like a big old dirty scratch, like right into the paint on clear plastic, that's pretty gutting.
Well, that's because there's like clear plastic, like I was saying before, it's supposed to be something that draws your eye, and because it's so vibrant, once you do scratch like a painted part, it stands out for miles.
It does. It glows,
to do, isn't it? It really does. It's like really draws your eyes. Like the wheeljack ones are a great example because I've seen so many of them over the years at like car boots and stuff, and the windscreens are always really scratched. And like my Ford Max that I got recently, the G1 toy, which is fantastic and was a super bargain. The only negative was that during transit, one of the accessory pieces had come loose, and it created a big scratch all the way down the clear window piece on the chest.
Oh no!
The window tit, so to speak.
Is that on the inside or the outside? Is it
the outside? So it obviously just come loose in the box and been rattling around.
Yeah.
And at some point,
so unlucky.
It just gone across it, and obviously there's not enough space in the box, so it just.
Yeah. So in situ, see with that though, if it's just, you could potentially don't do it right. But you could potentially polish out. If it was just clear plastic, you could polish it out. But if it's painted clear plastic, you can't. Obviously.
Yeah, no, painted clear plastic is different. But
yeah. Mr. Sixo, you've been looking into this, haven't you? Buffing out clear plastic.
Yeah, I saw there was a thing, wasn't there, on Instagram? It was one of those. Instagram does this thing.
We both saw it, didn't we? Because I saw it. I was like, you seen the same thing?
And you were right. It's exactly where I saw it. But Instagram does this thing when you boot up. What year am I talking about? You log in, you boot up Instagram. You get
Windows 95 farts.
You get the old modem going, Anyway,
was your modem a donkey?
Yeah, exactly. No, that was my impression of sawing wood. That was the middle bit of sawing wood. When you're into that nice middle
caught.
bit. Yeah, exactly that. In the middle there, it's like.
Jason, did you know Sixo was in the movie War Games?
I have no idea what you mean by that.
This is booting up, yeah? It was modem.
Classic old movie about the internet.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Nuclear Armageddon.
Right. Yeah.
But they had an old school modem in it. Yeah. It's a good movie.
Okay.
Good movie.
Yeah. Well, as someone that also once had an old school modem, I can remember what they sound like. So, not quite like a donkey, but anyway, what was I saying?
I can't even remember. Talking about scratch.
You're about to talk about Instagram.
Yeah. When you
polishing
boot
out
up
plastic.
Yeah, right. When you boot up Instagram. I'm doing it again. When you load up Instagram and you get a post that appears on Instagram for approximately half a second, and it's just long enough for you to see it and go, "Oh, that's interesting." Oh, it's gone, and it just and it disappears to like 20 posts down your feed or something, and you have to scroll and scroll and scroll. It does it to me every bloody time. Honestly, it's I don't know. Sort it out, Instagram.
It knows
honestly.
what you want to see,
Fix it,
and that you find interesting.
It's always
and
the
then
most
takes it away
interesting
and replaces it with the other
post.
stuff.
Yeah, it's like
do
the
on
most
purpose. It's done on purpose.
It's
to make you scroll.
It's the most interesting thing that you're going to see on your feed, and they just like drop it down immediately. But anyway, it was this thing about this like clear plastic treatment, basically for like buffing out scratches and things in blemishes in clear plastic, and it looks really good. And apologies, I cannot remember who posted it, and if I tried to find it on Instagram now, I wouldn't be able to. I'm fairly certain, but there was someone that posted about a G1 hot rod, and they'd buffed out the some of the scratches on the canopy there, and it looked amazing, honestly.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can actually so it'll be like a polishing compound, but it's like because you do it on cars, as in a real full-size car, like if you've got scratches on plastic, and you get different like waxes and stuff like that. And I remember I had a junker back in the day when I was mucking around with like whitening robots, the plastic parts, and then also trying to polish out plastic. And you can use different things like that, different car products and things like that, but you have to be so careful because you get the wrong one, it starts attacking the plastic, and the next minute you've just made it a lot worse. So I kind of steered clear in the end until
not one to mess about with. This was a specific solution for clear plastics. It was designed for clear plastic. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. That was all. But I mean, talking more generally then about the sort of downside of clear plastic. I mean, the fragility is something that we've already kind of touched on quite obviously, haven't we? So, but I guess, what are, in your mind, some of the toys that are very famously prone to breaking?
Oh gosh, like for me, the one that popped straight into my head is, do you remember the Power Core combiners, the little Target Masters they came with? They came with these little minicons, and they're all made of clear plastic. They've got like clear plastic, like hip joints and legs and arms and all that. And those are ones that I've had snap, just removing the legs. Like they've just sheared off a few years later. They're not even very old at that point. But
they're all like block colours, like blue and purple and things like that.
They're basically all just modern Target Masters. So you'd get like a core figure and then these little vehicles that could clip onto them to make them into combiners.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Vehicles didn't turn into robots; they're like drones. But they also came with the core ones. Came with these little Target Masters partners. I think they're probably just called minicons still at this point. But they all turn into little guns. But they're all made out of clear plastic, and it's horrendous because the amount of them. Obviously, if you've got the sort of the hip joints are just ball joints, so you twist it, snap, shears off. But there are quite a few, like the Earthrise Datsun is the current classic, and Jazz and JRX, they're probably like the worst examples, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. The one that immediately sprang to mind for me, because it was a bit of a heartbreaking break, was MP3G Ghost Starscream, the masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. What broke?
The arm came off completely at the joint. I was
terrifying one.
Not happy. It was one of those where it was like, I had obviously been careful with it, and the thing was, is I had that thing we were saying earlier of many people saying to me on social media over the years, that'll break one day, and it's like there's almost that sort of tone of like, haha, your toy's gonna break, you kind of get that sort of sense from some people, don't you? And it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I know, but I'll enjoy it for the time that it lasts. But literally it just lifted the arm up. I don't even think it was for transformation. I think I just literally raised the arm and it just came off in my hand. Just not even a snap. Just
really.
Some toys are too intricate, I think, to be made of clear plastic. And that masterpieces are one of them. Like I remember seeing the Ghost Starscream, and I remember yours breaking, but I remember seeing it when it first came out. And you just look at it and you go, there are so many different tolerances involved, and so many joints, and so many different pressures, and to use that many clear parts, and it's like. It looks cool. It's an amazing looking thing, but it's too intricate to be made of that much clear plastic and survive.
Transformable toy, it pushes the tolerance.
MP9, if they'd done that in clear plastic,
right,
imagine
exactly.
that.
Yeah, or MP44 even, or anything. Yeah, but it's. I think it's the thinness of some of the joints as well. Some of the bits of plastic where they're, designed to let you get a thin tube almost that wraps around like a pin or something like that. And I think that's what it was. Is it was almost like a sort of cylindrical piece that broke from memory. But I was gutted, and of course, just packed it back in the box.
There's a thing, isn't there? There'll be variances in the tolerances of manufactured for each toy as well. So when something like that with a pin going through a joint, depending on what time it went through, the pin might have gone through in a very slightly different place to, normally. So it will work fine for a bit, but gradually it's stressing more than it should. And you would never know. And it's kind of in that one.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me, is that these parts end up breaking because it's it seems to be a combination of two different materials. So like you're saying, Liam, it's like in a masterpiece scale figure, you're going to have metal parts with clear plastic. And if that's slightly off, but then would that be the same if it was just normal plastic now? Don't know.
Well, that's the other thing, though, isn't it? Because the masterpiece, there are Sixos that broke. Like, it wasn't designed first and foremost to be made of clear plastic. So all the research and everything they did, testing would have been with the regular plastic. So then when they had the idea to go, actually, we can do it in clear plastic. Those parts weren't designed for those tolerances, were they, or anything like that? So
what about G1 Ghost Starscream? So I've been trying to buy that guy for a while.
Never had a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And is it, to go back to kind of what Liam's saying as well, though, that it's a simpler transformation,
But that does have some solid parts on it as well. So
does it? Right.
I'm trying to think from memory, like the chest, some parts of it is solid, like the red bits on the chest are solid.
Right.
And I can't remember from memory, but with like some of the joints, I don't think they're all made of clear plastic. So
Yeah.
I think the worst you're looking at there is either like pegs, like on the little tail fins or something, like the pegs going in, or maybe like pegging on the fists, because you've got to get the fists sort of slid on to the arms. Yep. That might be a bit of a worry, I guess. But I've never particularly felt that was a super fragile toy or anything like that. I think mine is a little bit like the joints are not quite as tight as like a regular Starscream, for example, and I do think that's something that you get on a lot of clear toys, where you have the solid version and then the clear version. Like I mentioned Flashlight Convoy and Burning Optimus Primal, early Burning Convoy. Those original toys are very loosey-goosey, whereas the solid plastic versions are not, purely and simply. And I have noticed that on a few clear toys, the tolerances are not the same.
It's one of those things of whether or not it would put me off, because like Ghost Starscream's he's a character, it's like it's part of the lore, isn't it? And it's like, so you want it in your collection, both in the original G1 as well as at the Masterpiece scale as well. But it does, like for you guys, so is there a caution if you're seeing a figure now that has a lot of clear plastic, particularly at the joint level? Or would it put you off getting it?
As in, would it put you off buying it?
Yeah. So for me, if I really wanted it, it would be, so Ghost Starscream. I would want that. Absolutely want that. I would get that, the G1 version. But the Masterpiece one, I'd be less inclined to get.
Yeah, you'd be wary.
Just because, as what Liam was saying, is it's just the engineering behind that, how complex it is. Well, transferring Masterpiece scale toys is just, it's nerve-wracking anyway. Let alone
to answer your question, I think that no, it wouldn't put me off, frankly, because this is what I was saying before. Ultimately, these are still things to be enjoyed in one way or another, whether that's picking them up and playing with them and transforming them and loving them in that regard, or photography, or just simply having them on a shelf to kind of admire, whatever it might be. And, using Shining Magnus as an example again, I love that thing. It may well break on me one day, and I'll be very sad when it does, but I'm not going to regret the time that I had with it, even when that day comes. And I would say the same of MP3G as well in that regard, in that, I got that toy in 2010, 2011, whenever it came. It was 2010. And so it only broke maybe 12 months ago, something. It was only sort of relatively recently. So you're talking 12, 13 years of use that I got out of that toy. Now, I'm not saying that's a lot. That's like enough. I'm not saying that that's great that it broke. Of course it's not. I'm sad about it. But at the same time, I don't regret the time that I had with it, if that sort of makes sense. So
that part's good. But like when you say like 10 years of use, but it's not continuous use, is it? Like,
sure.
Like, but these toys aren't meant to be continuously used. So
no, that's true.
It's like, I wonder how long, if somebody had got it out and treated it like a toy, like how long would it have actually lasted?
No question, it would not have lasted. But Masterpiece is not designed to do that anyway, is it? Let's be fair.
What you want out of it, so that's it's worth it for you, isn't it?
I wish it hadn't broke, but and Ghost Starscream is one. I'm not going to get it again purely because it doesn't fit anywhere for me now. Like I've got enough going on, but if I was still kind of in the realm of wanting that, I would probably get a second copy. Do you know what I mean? And just not transform it as much. I guess
out of interest, if you saw a junker, say at like Toy Food Table, unlikely, but if you did, would you grab it to fix it?
Yeah. I've already sold it, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone, I sold it to Paul. Actually, took it, but no. Maybe I don't know. I think it would be a difficult one to fix. That.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But actually, interesting. That's a point. Is that sometimes maybe if you saw, again, you'd be unlikely to see that toy on a second-hand table.
Yeah. True.
But like if you had broken a toy like that, like a clear plastic toy, buying a second-hand one wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because in a way it's almost tried and tested, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like, I think
true.
Sometimes with these things, I often say this of GPS, that it's in a way easier or better to buy secondhand toys, because it's like you kind of know that someone's put them through their paces a little bit first, versus something that in the box. Because I've known people get clear plastic toys that are broken in box and stuff before, for example.
Yeah, but I did that with my G1 Overlord. I got there was a minor It wasn't the clear plastic canopy or something. I think it was on the tank. There was something broken on it, but I could just get a junker and swap it out. That was it. And it, you know, going back to our accessories chat, it was that junker one was going to go in landfill, so could bring it back. So I was quite like doing that as well.
You rescued it, yeah.
I did rescue it, yeah, exactly.
That's good.
We've done the good. We've talking about the bad. I'm going to throw a potentially ugly, but with a slight curveball.
Ugly? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Always going so negative, Jason.
I don't know, who is this?
Is it ugly though? This is the thing. So the Platinum Edition of Masterpiece Optimus Prime, Year of the Horse.
Oh
version.
yeah. Horse. Yeah.
That has the ridiculous, crazy transparent.
Now hang on. You're not going to tell me that toy's ugly, are you?
Well, so this is the thing. So I have buyer's regret on this toy.
What?
So I remember seeing it in Toys R Us when it still existed, going in and it being at like 120 quid, and then nobody bought any of them, and it got discounted to silly price, it was ended up being like 40 quid or something stupid.
A lot of people had that toy as their Masterpiece Optimus.
Yeah. I never picked it up, and because it was like, it goes for it, doesn't it? The cab has got gold, chromed parts to it,
I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
But genuinely.
But this is the thing, is like now I look at that and I'd forgotten that I never got this in the end. And I remember looking at the back of the box thinking, God, that looks weird. Why have they done that?
Yeah, it is weird.
But now I look at it and go, oh, I kind of love the fact you can see all that greebly stuff inside the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they just absolutely went for it, didn't they? I
have to tell you, first of all, as an MP10 collector who has all the versions of MP10, I love Year of the Horse, unironically so. And I'm going to fully confess the fact that the first time I saw it, like pictures of it, I was like, what the is this? Honestly, exactly. It genuinely was like, what are they smoking when they made this?
Wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is totally wild,
like a wild stallion.
But I totally came around to it.
Excellent.
Yeah. And, I've seen some amazing customs using Year of the Horse Prime and stuff like that, because it's got the black around the eyes and things like this, like turning it into like G2 Prime from the comics and things. But even the straight up with the gold and everything, I think it looks amazing. But the clear plastic trailer is, again, it's not one that I've ever worried about, but it's probably not had that much use as a toy from the trailer. I'm not like getting it out and using the combat deck and things like that a lot.
Yeah, it's I've definitely got buyer's regret on that one, and it was an immediate kind of reaction to it. I was just like, "What is this?" But then there was some really. Did it not have that combined Autobot and Year of the Horse?
Little logo on it.
Logo on it as well. Just little things like that I learned about later. Where it's like, oh, that's actually quite cool. Quite like that.
Well, you know what, Jason? Funnily enough, there's one on eBay here in Birmingham going for £103. Buy it now.
Oh, there you go. Right,
Good
I
price.
better get on that before this goes live.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Send me the
go.
link. Yeah, brilliant.
There you
nice.
go. We'll see if it's still there by the time this episode is finished. No, that's a good example. I mean, that's another one that was like a solid toy to begin with, then turned clear. But the Ghost Starscream is the one that I kind of do think of. That said, I don't think I've had that many breaks, though. That many clear plastic breaks.
So this, for me, right, this is the truth. I haven't. The breaks that I can think of are all down to kind of panels, as I said earlier, that are like little doors that open, like on the Overlord's chest piece, or the one break I got, not clear plastic, but it was Kickback's antenna.
Oh yeah.
But my brakes, that's what I'm saying, is that it wasn't clear plastic. It was the brakes that I've had have been across the board on just like, and it's been my fault. It's not been because of clear plastic. So for me, it's not like I've never really looked at clear plastic and gone, oh no, that's going to break as soon as I touch it. I just don't think like that. I kind of slightly go into G1 stuff now with a caution anyway. What I do notice is what I mentioned earlier, is just the kind of scuffs, marks, wear and tear is more obvious, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and there are bad examples, and Studio Series Jazz is a recent one, of course, and there are old examples.
That's Datsuns with their stupid clear plastic knees.
Exactly. But that is kind of as you said, Liam, I feel like something just went wrong there. Like that's not how that should be. But I kind of feel like, and actually, although we have focused a little bit on the negative tonight, I kind of feel like this conversation is sort of backing up for me and cementing in my mind that the whole worry about clear plastic is, I don't want to say it's overblown, but it's not like every clear plastic toy is just randomly shattering the whole time, is it?
No, it's just a thing though, isn't it? It's an element you're aware of that it's going to be probably more fragile than other parts. So you treat it with care, and there are going to be instances where it breaks, but like there are going to be instances where other toys break in stupid ways that you can't get around.
Toys break.
Well, like you look at the amount of toys where joints are seizing up or plastic is weaker in certain parts and it was always going to shatter. Like we were saying about G1 Scattershot's wings, for example. They're not clear plastic, but they're always going to crack. It's very 90% likely. And then, with clear plastic, and it's like, you're talking about like Shining Magnus, and it's like, even if that broke, you'd be gutted. You would. But you've had the toy now. You've got to experience it. And there's kind of a thing, isn't there? Like, if you look at all these toys as clear plastic and go, oh, I'm not having that, you're doing yourself out of an experience that you might want. And
I think so, yeah.
It's like, I get like, because I'm wary of stuff when they break, and I'm not going to bother with that toy. But if it's something you really wanted and you thought was fantastic, there's no point just going, oh, it's clear plastic, so no. Because it might be fine. It might break, but you're doing yourself out of something that you might love just for the sake of everybody online going, oh, clear plastic. Because people say that and they don't actually know. That's the first thing people do, because it's just become
it's become a thing.
It has become a thing. That's become
my point earlier. A stigma, for sure. Yeah.
Like anyone sees clear plastic and straight away that's their first thought. It's going to break. And they have to tell you, and you're like, it's not always the case.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, again, not to bring GPS into it, but you get a lot of that with that on social media as well. You know, where a toy is vaguely gold in some way, and people are like, "Oh, what about the GPS?" And you're like,
dude.
Actually, no gold plastic in there. You know?
Yeah, totally.
I had it with something recently. Oh, what was it? It was that I posted the picture of that wooden Fortress Maximus prototype.
Oh yeah,
and people on there were like, "Oh, well, what about the GPS?" And I'm like, "It's made of wood."
Yeah. Yeah. Fire, actually. That's more dangerous.
Exactly.
But some of these things, they take on a life of their own, don't they?
They do.
Like, they don't take into account. Like, you get new 100%. Toys now where even if the plastic is gold, people are straight away, oh, GPS, that's going to break. And you're like, it's not likely on a new toy. Like, there are instances of that, but there are instances of other types of colours plastics breaking, like a G1 Vortex, that green plastic on its head. Yeah. And you're like, it's not gold and it's not clear, but it's just types of plastics at the end of the day.
I think that's ultimately it for me, is that some toys are fragile and other toys are not. And I couldn't honestly, hand on heart, say that I could ever swear off or be wary of clear toys too much, because, you know, I've had examples like the Ghost Starscream that, yes, it broke. It was still gorgeous. I've got other many examples of clear toys that have not broken on me and are absolutely fine. As you said, Liam, yes, I'm cautious of them, or like a little bit wary, like, you know, Shining Magnus is a good one. But that a lot of that is down to rarity and value and stuff as well, you know, whereas if it was just a toy that cost a $5, I wouldn't be as worried, maybe. I don't know. But it's certainly not something that gives me so much worry that I wouldn't pick up a clear toy, certainly.
Yeah, say the same. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it being a consideration, like, say, the MP's Ghost Starscream, like, if you're somebody who just wants one version of a mold like that, like, I can understand, like, looking at it going, that one's clear, so I'll just get a regular Starscream, that sort of thing. But there is a thing, like you're saying, like, doing yourself out of some experiences of toys, like the rarity of stuff like Shining Magnus, and it's like, so that's kind of an experience you can't really repeat. Like, the vintage Magnus, is the regular Magnus, is the same toy, but special. Like, if you want
super
a clear
special
toy, that's what you're there for, isn't it?
Yeah. That is like the clear toy as well. Yeah. I can't even believe I've not mentioned stuff like Crystal Hot Rod and things like that as well.
Yeah,
you know,
I was thinking
just
Crystal Hot Rod.
You know, like off the chain. And there's no way that I wouldn't want to own that for fear of like it breaking one day. You know, so say Levy.
So what I did see recently was the clear Super 7 Ultimate Ghost Starscream. I'd never seen that. Well, I think I had seen it, but like it's got like glitter in it and stuff. It looks like that.
Glittery.
Actually, that is a kind of Ghost Starscream I'd quite like to have at some point. Like, just a regular figure like that. So I hope someone else does one of those.
I got one for sale. Do you want it?
I'm all right, thank you.
All right, you say that you want it then, but
No,
not
I
that-
mean,
not that
like a
one.
general
Yeah.
non-transforming.
just not my specific one. You don't want. Yeah.
not the Super 7 one. It's got like a weird gorpy looking face, hasn't it?
All right, well, Jason wanted to get onto the ugly. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to bring it back, though, to my normal jam of positivity and imagine a world of Transformers
I like Dark
without
Jason.
Yeah.
without clear plastic.
Is it time for Jason's final thoughts? Is that what this is?
The final thoughts for the episode, exactly. But I was just looking there through my collection and thinking, imagine if we didn't have clear plastic. For whatever reason, they couldn't do it. They couldn't bring it into different molds and stuff like that. And you go back to G1 and Shockwave doesn't have his laser hand and his gun.
Fist.
Yeah, fist, exactly. Galvatron and his cannon. You know, you've got all these different characters that have these little moments of clear plastic on them that add so much to that toy.
Yes.
That without it would just be a huge gap. And that's, for me, is what makes them special more than anything else. That's what I love about it.
Absolutely. I think so much of it comes down to the use of it more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
How it's used. Like we say with in joints and stuff, you're like, don't do that. Because like the only one I think was, it's not out of order, is the wrong word, but I feel it's a bit egregious, is the Master P Trainbot, which has all the clear plastic.
Shuki,
like,
yeah.
That's such an intricate toy. They had to know that was a likely outcome. Was it Maz's that broke recently? Was it
well, actually, no. Bizarrely, he and I have both had a break on the Yukikaze, which is a solid plastic joint, believe it or not. So again, the irony being that Shuki has the clear joints, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" But you know, two of us have had a break on a solid plastic joint on Yukikaze. So,
well, I've not transformed those yet. I'm now approaching those with caution as well. Then, so
yeah, but no, people have had breaks, I think, on Shuki. To be fair,
I think I just think that toy is so intricate. It has to do so many things. It's like that's the sort of thing where you look at it and you go, "It looks cool. I get what they're going for, but that should have been something that you just sidestep straight away and go,
yeah.
We're
Insert
asking
windows.
too much of what this can do and how long this could possibly last."
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
Let's go the safe route.
Yeah, I think for me, it was like, we know, because we're on social and we're all chatting about this stuff, and we then, is it a bit of human nature here that when everything's fine, it's fine, so you don't mention it. But then something breaks or something doesn't work. You go, "Oh, it's not working. It's broken."
You become hyper aware, don't you?
You're hyper aware. So then a few people talk about it. So actually, that's where this blows it up into something that it's not. So there's tens of thousands of people out there that have got different train bots, totally fine. But within your our circle is so wide now that we hear all this stuff, and it becomes a bigger thing than maybe it is.
And then you get three Muppets sat around for 2 hours doing a bloody podcast on it and just exacerbating the whole thing. It's
Waka waka.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bajublins.
Bajublins.
Bajiblins.
Bajiblins. Come on, man.
Bajiblins. Get it right.
Right, yeah.
Bajiblins. It's very different. Very different.
Bajiblins.
That's why we need Josh on here, so he can keep the Bajiblins
exactly.
going.
Get Josh on for the Bajiblins, indeed. That's his segment. Right, well, I'm sure that's going to about do it for the chat on clear plastic. I mean, realistically, this is a conversation that's got legs to be revisited at some point, doesn't it? And
depends if they're made out of clear plastic or not, doesn't it?
That's true, actually, yeah. You're not going to get very far with those. Just going to turn to dust. But, maybe we can get Josh, that we keep talking about, our Bajiblins friend, back on. He's going to hear this and he's going to be like, "What's this? What are you on about, Bajiblins? What's this reputation that you've
unsubscribed from Patreon?"
Right, exactly. God, this reputation that you've given me.
You're going to block me block my number.
Yeah, well, rightly so. But we'd love to have him on the pod at some point. We've signed him up for it already. He hasn't even heard the episode yet, but we will, I'm sure, talk a bit more about this, and we definitely will revisit this kind of arena to talk about gold plastic syndrome at some point, because it's got to be done, isn't it? So
got to be done. Yeah.
But I like the kind of final thought on it all was that actually clear plastic, it ain't all bad, is it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's got its uses, it's got its fun, And actually, it's not one to be too scared of, I think is the sort of message that we... is that right? Is a nice little summary? I think that's fair.
Truth. Yep, absolutely.
Truth. Yeah. All right. Popping truths. Or whatever.
Clear
whatever the kids say.
For the window lens of truth.
Oh, very poetic. Nice.
Yeah. Nice reference.
Lovely. Well, firstly, we should mention for this evening that we have a sponsor, and that is tfsource.com, so do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. But if you want to get more of this sort of chat, and why would you not, then it's clear to see that you should be on our Patreon. Because it's the place to be. It's popping, as I keep saying. And I'm going to keep doing that until you two stop laughing every time, honestly.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
You just sound like someone who's just like stepped out of the 50s.
I have in so
I do
many
a little
ways.
groove, you know.
Yeah.
This jive, man.
Could be like some sort of greaser. I don't know. But it is a good place to be. As I said, we've got 5 glorious tiers. You can sign up just to support us. You can get early access to episodes like this up to a week early, sometimes even a little bit more. You can get on our Discord. There's all kinds of good stuff on there. We've got our Marvel UK book club that we keep talking about from old Dog Lunch UK, who is absolutely amazing. And just lots of good stuff on there as well. It's a really, really lovely community of... we get a lot of the patrons on there, don't we? Our Discord is saying to us that this is like just a lovely place to chat about robots and sometimes some other stuff as well. It happens. It's fair to say.
A proper community. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Really
Fantastic people. Love those guys.
Absolutely. You can also then sign up as a Sixo's butler and get access to fortnightly minisodes as well, which is maybe where we'll get Bajiblin's Josh on to talk about his Bajiblins. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe as a minisode. We'll have to have a look at that. And you can sign up as a Gold Box Classic as well. You can get access to our fortnightly mini-series. You've got Tapman, you've got IDW, you've got Skybound, you've got Jace Wags. Titans Return, the Titan himself, talking Titans.
Triple T, is that now?
Yeah.
T? Yeah.
Triple Takeover talks Titans.
Yeah.
Wow. Too many T's. All the T's.
All the T's. Yeah, J Titan. That's what we should call you.
Tai Chi.
Jaitan.
Chai. You want to call him Chai Tea?
I'm trying to think of types of tea.
Oh, right.
Chai tea is not. It's a martial art. It's not a type of tea.
No, yeah. We've kind of got into a weird area now, but chai tea, sure. So yeah, absolutely get on our Patreon and sign up for all of that. And there are some other perks as well. Now, full confession and disclosure, up until this point, you regular listeners that are not patrons may have known that we've been doing a big shout out. This was always kind of Maz's thing. And then we got a special guest on for the last one that we did in episode 69, just prior to Christmas. It was a bit, I won't spoil it in case you've not heard it, but it was a big one. It was pretty good.
It was.
We were all excited about that. But we have had a bit of a chat with the patrons, and we've decided that now we're going to do things slightly differently. So you will see a list of our patrons in the show notes if you have a look on your podcast app or on YouTube or wherever it is that you're viewing or listening to this. You'll see a list of our patrons there. In order of sign up. So thank you very much to all of them for doing that, and we will continue to put their list there. But instead, we're going to enhance this section a little bit and do a few more listener questions from our patrons instead. I do just want to give a quick shout out to some of the newer people that have just signed up in the last week or two. So we've had Scott Dickinson sign up as a Sixo's butler. Thank you very much,
that guy
Scott.
off Twitter.
Hello, Scott.
Welcome.
Yeah, he's on board, so that's very exciting. He'll be listening to all his minisodes and everything now, I hope. We've also got Craig Holloway, who's just signed up as well. Literally on the 1st of January.
Oh, nice. 2024.
Yeah.
New Year's resolution. Listen to all of our stuff.
I know. Check that out, right? Like, New Year, I'm going to get on that Patreon. I'm going to get my minisodes. Good man, Craig. I think you're doing the right thing. And Alan Reed as well has signed up as a man in pig. So we're very appreciative of that as well.
Thanks, Alan.
I've just outed him. There you go. Alan's friends are listening now, and they're like, "Really?"
He's probably horrified now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
What can you do?
You can get on Redbubble and go and buy a man in pig.
He can buy a man in pig merch, can't he? Yeah. Be a proud man in pig. Because why would you not be proud? So, yes, those are our new patrons, so thank you very much to them. And as we said, we do have some questions for the evening as well. You ready for these, guys?
Yeah. Bring it
go
on.
for it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, the first question is from our patron Adam Brady, who asks. These are all from our Discorders and what have you. When you're taking pictures, reposing, or even playing with your figures, which we do at various times, do you place their main weapons in their dominant hand? Actually, it says in your dominant hand, not their dominant hand. I guess you don't know; they've not told you. In your dominant hand. So if you're a lefty or a righty, was figuring out a pose for Shatterglass Blur and put his main gun in his left hand, but it just didn't feel right, as it were. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
This is a tremendous question. This is fantastic because I know exactly what he means. Like I always do it in the right hand, and I've tried it a few times in photos. You know when you have a group shot and you want to balance it out, and I've tried putting it in the left, but it feels wrong because I'm right-handed, and so
interesting.
It's strange how it feels different. If you know what I mean. Like I feel like the default pose is right arm shooting because not that I shoot guns, but that's what.
Yeah, sure. I'm a bit of a mix, I'm looking at my ranks now on the shelves. A lot of them are right-handed. It's fair to say that the vast majority, swords, guns, whatever it might be, are in the right hand. But there are some. Actually, I'm just looking at my top spin and twin twist are left-handed. Apparently, bit random. I noticed I took a picture of MDLX 30 Rodimus the other day, and that has a gun in the left hand. So yeah, amazing toy. It's
interesting actually because I was thinking like even with the dominant thing, I always if it's a character who's got say a handheld melee weapon and a gun, I would put the gun in the left hand and the the melee weapon in the right hand because again, being right-handed, that's how I would think
for slashing.
Easier to pull a trigger. Yeah, everything seems to lean that way. I think I do have one or two with them in the left hand, but I think it's just where I've tried to fight against my own personal preference. Or
your right-handed bias.
Yeah, but like the clones, for example, I would like that characters I would have, even though they both got two guns. But if they had one, I would have it in the opposite hand as like a mirror image.
Yeah. Nice. So I actually have a wee story for me because
a wee story.
Is
this a Shining Magnus thing again?
It's not. It's very different. No, it's just a small story. A little story. My brother's left-handed. And when we played Transformers as kids, I was the Autobots, he was the Decepticons, but because he's left-handed and I'm right-handed, I made the Autobots left-handed. So all my Autobots are left-handed. Because I love my brother to bits, and he's a bit of a hero of mine. So I always put the rifles for Autobots in their left hand.
That's so nice.
Decepticons are all right-handed.
My God.
But the other thing about taking the photos as well, it's really interesting that depending on which hand you put it in and how that then changes the photograph and how that looks, because it can just end up taking over the image and you have to kind of muck around with the positioning and stuff like that. So
posing,
and for posing it and stuff. But yeah, for me, it's a very clear cut. Autobots left, and if you look at that Brainstorm episode and the images that went out of that,
I noticed actually,
he's a lefty. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Can I just say that a standard brother story would be much more like my brother was left-handed, so I told him you're the Decepticons and you can be, or whatever. I don't know, just something horrible
How my brother's story is he stamped on all my Transformers. Jason's is super lovely. Wow. It's a good point about posing as well in photos because one thing I do is if I have two characters facing each other sideways on. Yes. I will have the guns. One will have it in the left and right, so the gun's on the far side because I don't like it when I'm taking a photo of a character and the gun is in front of them. If that makes sense, because it kind of obscures them. You like it to be on the further away from the camera on the opposite side.
Yeah, so I do it. It's kind of story led when I do it. So if the character's in prose and not actually action mode, the gun will be further away from the lens. Whereas if they're doing an actual action, it will be like into the lens or kind of a different shot, so because otherwise it just dominates and it kind of changes it.
Composition,
exactly.
Cool. Right, well the next question is from Atlas, who's a regular member of our Discord.
That guy as well.
We really do good. Hello Atlas.
Hi Atlas.
And he says hi, and he says silly question for the pod, if you were all Transformers, actually says if y'all were Transformers, I don't think I can do that Do you think that was
Is that like Southern America?
If y'all were Transformers.
Yeah, if y'all were Transformers. I'm taking a guess
There's
at
a
the accent.
snake in my boots, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
maybe.
Yeah. Is Atlas from Pixar and from Toy
Yeah.
Story?
That was Liam had a Woody moment there.
Sorry,
Oh, my
Atlas.
favorite deputy. That's how I
Yeah.
assume all like cowboys talk. Like,
That's Liam's in a Woody.
oh gosh. We're back to that 10.5
Right.
inches.
Exactly.
Well, it's gone up
Yeah.
now. It was 9.8 inches earlier.
Ooh,
That's how it works, Jason.
it happens. If y'all were Transformers, what would y'all turn into? Is the question.
I can answer this straight away. Space shuttle. Because then I could adventure anywhere. I could go into space, obviously, but I could, space shuttle can go underwater as well. It's made for space. Go
Yeah,
everywhere.
fair point,
Great
fair
fun.
point.
I'd just be pure adventure.
Nice. Liam, you'd probably be a Zamboni or something.
Yeah, the Zamboni, man, that'd be cool. Just go around the ice, listen to that flipping ice hockey music all the time. Like, that'd be a great life.
I don't know why I thought of Zamboni for you. Is after we had a long chat about Zambonis once, didn't we? And
It was what was the minisode where it was like you had to pick a transformer and an alt mode?
yeah, it was alt modes that have never been made into Transformers toys or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd quite like to be a jet. I'd like to be a space shuttle, but Jason's already done that, so
Yeah, sorry.
I decided that I would be an action master. I would not transform,
Oh, right, nice.
but or maybe a 3-0 thing. I would be supremely posable and have a wonderful ab crunch and butterfly shoulders, but no actual transformation.
Do you just have a suit? Is that what you're saying?
just be
You
a
have a person.
president.
You're Iron Man. That's what you...
There you go. Or I'd be like Emirate Zarin, who, of course, is my avatar, and just get halfway to transforming and then get a bit of a bad back or something and just be like,
Like,
"Ooh,
nah."
not sure about this. And
That's
sit
our life
down
now,
again.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that's just your 40s for you, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so there you go. That's mine. Next question and final question for the evening is from Liam. You're going to love this. Evil plot disease.
Yes. The successor to Fart Warp is my favourite picture name.
Right, exactly. Can I just say that we got our special guest, who's a known voice actor for Transformers. That's my favourite bit is him saying "evil plot disease," and the fact that actually I believe that evil plot disease now has this voice actor saying "evil plot disease" as their
That's what you saying
ringtone.
on the Discord, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Notifications from Discord, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
When you
Love
first
that.
got the file and I was listening to it, I was on a tram and I was listening to it, and that's what I was listening for. I was like, evil plot disease. Come on, man. I got to hear this guy say evil plot
So
disease.
good. Yeah.
I did not disappoint. He really went for it.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Very much so. Evil plot disease. It was quite the moment. Anyway, evil plot disease's question is: I sold a complete and mint Action Master Sideswipe in 2015 in a job lot for £25. Woof. And I've been kicking myself ever since. So I was thinking, in that spirit, what are your biggest selling regrets or things that you passed up, if it's not too distressing?
Oh, selling regrets at the minute. The one that pops it straight to mind is G1 Snapdragon, because I sold a box one for.
Oh, yeah.
£50. And obviously, you guys got me Ape Face for my birthday, which I absolutely love. And now I'm
Ape
like,
for say.
Ape for say.
Ape for say.
French.
It's ape for say, damn it.
Ape for say.
I pay for say. But now I really wish I still had the Snapdragon, but I've regretted that for a long time. I think actually my biggest regret will always be selling the Stunticon gift set, which I had. It's only sold it for like 90 quid, and this was about 15 years ago. And I've always regretted it since. And it's like, I have the Stunticons, they're very ubiquitous toys, but it's that gift set,
the cardboard,
the condition it was in, and it sits in the back of my mind constantly.
J-Swags?
So it's funny. I actually said I was taking notes earlier on this and said I don't have any selling regrets, but I then just had a flashback what you said there, Liam, in that when I was a teenager, I sold my Generation 1 Optimus Prime in its box, in its styro, and it went to someone in Edinburgh. So if you're listening to this, I'll buy it back off you. But yeah, that's a regret now. I've since rebought multiple versions of Optimus Prime. But the one that's kind of a bit of a bugbear for me is Gigapower Gravatar, their version of Sludge. I had to pass on it because I couldn't afford it at the time. The metallic version, it's impossible to get now. It's like I can't find it anywhere.
One of those.
And they keep releasing the chrome version, and I went full in on the Gigapower ones. Got all the other four of them, and don't have him. So that's a bit of a pain.
I don't have many selling regrets. You know, I
Do you have all of Transformers?
Well, walked into that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, categorically, but I did regret Feral Rex as a thing. Mastermind Creations Feral Rex. That was a big selling regret, but I got it back. So that's,
There we go.
Oh, there you go, done.
right.
That was brief.
Not helping the reputation any there, am I? Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm trying to think. Like, if I sell stuff, I'm sure there are bits that at the time I've thought, I don't really want this to go. But then, okay, so like, again, the GT, the Transformers GT 4 cars I sold and then got those back many, many years later. But still, that was a selling regret. So I don't know. I think if I was that regretted about it, I would look to, if it was feasible, I would look to pick it up again. It's the simple fact. So
I will remind you guys that when you started this podcast, the kind of first year was you guys going through stuff that, particularly for Sixo and for Maz,
it's true.
Going, why did we get rid of that? And then buying it again.
That's so true. Yeah. Alternators and Binal was a big selling regret. It was a huge selling regret, and now I have a cabinet full of them. So it's just
totally.
There is one toy that I also regret selling that is rapidly climbing my list of toys to get back, and that's RID Scourge. I think I sold it in the second TFN I went to, and I regretted it instantly. And I think that's
the black truck, isn't it? Is that right? With a little scooshy.
Yeah, I've got the G2 Optimus, but I really want the Scourge back.
I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned to you, but it's got amazing light piping. Really good. Not many people talk about it, but it's
I'm obsessed by the little scooshy heart.
Bajublins.
Is this going to turn up in a TF source list? 10 things you didn't know about Scourge.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
So
three parts.
Three parts.
Very long introduction.
Mainly about light piping.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you think, Liam. I know what you think. See, I'm preempting the pick takes now. That's the thing.
Wow.
Anyway, thank you very much to our wonderful patrons and indeed those questions. So that is fantastic. We'll do some more next time as well. There's a bit more of a kind of regular segment on the pod and hopefully quite entertaining for non-subscribers to listen to as well. But if you do want to get your questions answered on the pod, get to our Patreon at patreon.com/Triple Takeover. Get signed up and you too can be hearing your questions read out and answered on the pod. Now, we also have a Redbubble, don't we, Liam?
We do. And I actually had a really nice message about this. A DM.
Did you?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A DM?
So this was actually from a doctor, of all people. Like, real guy.
Oh, God.
But he was just saying, he had one of our mugs and he had it in his practice, and one of his patients who came in for some sort of medical sorting out, it was
medical sorting out. Bajiblins.
For his bajiblins, saw it and liked it, and he said, where can I get it? And he told him. So thank you, Dr. Pepper, for this message. And he said he told him it was rebel.com/people/Triple Takeover/explore, and I was like, yeah, that's correct, thanks, and keep up the good work, saving lives and all that stuff. We love what you do.
All that medical sorting out, yeah. Brilliant.
I mean, if that's your doctor, I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Oh, no.
I am so misunderstood.
It took a while for the penny to drop there.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, thank you, Dr. Pepper. It was good. But
this is why Maz left.
I'm singing the song now in my head.
What song? What were you talking about? I don't know. I have no idea to what you refer. But if you've had any experiences with clear plastic and you want to chat to us, you can find us all over social media on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook. So yeah, go find us. Guys, where can they find you?
I am at SixoTF. Anywhere there's an at. No, I'm joking, Liam. Anywhere. Well, it is. It's anywhere there's an at. Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
All of social media.
Yeah.
All of social media. Yeah.
Not TikTok.
Yet.
Not TikTok.
Yet.
I have a TikTok. Oh, it's not Transformers related though. But anyway, just go to my website, jswags.com, and at some point I will update that to make it a bit better.
Website.
But Jason is also on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, because I'm enjoying your photos that are popping up on there with more regularity.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
pop
fun.
in.
Now I've got my light box back, so it's nice. It's good fun. Liam, where are you?
Well, I am at Toybox Soapbox. Anywhere there's an at.
Oh, you too.
Yay.
Also
What
you.
a coincidence.
It's just such a memorable little phrase. It's brilliant.
It's funny that Dr. Pepper is also anywhere there's an at as well. Weird.
Well, actually, it's technically lie, because I'm not on... Oh, I am on TikTok as well, aren't I? No, I'm not. Wait,
Are you?
I've got it. No, I'm not on it, but I just have it. Yeah.
You're not on it, but you have it.
Yeah, but I don't think... Yeah, people send me dog videos and silly things, don't they?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, dogs and cats. That's why you go on TikTok.
I used to have it, but then they changed what it is.
No? Oh, God. It took me ages.
Whatever. Anyway, we've got horrifically off topic, as is our want at times. But I do hope you've enjoyed the chat about clear plastic tonight. I'm sure there's more to say on the topic. I'm sure we'll be back to it at some point further down the line. But thank you very much for listening, and enjoy all your bajiblins.
Yeah, it's thick, it's big and chunky. But it's like you said earlier, Liam, but it feels a bit more, not rubbery, but, a bit softer, a bit more forgiving. I want to be able to play with it and actually pick it up, because they pop off. But I just remember going to it and just looking at it, and it just came off in my hand.
I always do it in the right hand,